Rolling in. Welcome to the first major low percent race this game has ever seen. I'm Blunt Bunny, and I'm joined by Scrivo and Super Scudge.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Basically, if you guys aren't familiar with what low percent is, it's very It's going to be very similar to any percent no major glitches if you've ever seen it. But instead, they're not going to be getting any safeties, any extra hearts, and they're not going to be upgrading the Master Sword, which is a pretty big deal in this category, especially in the second half. And there's some other minor changes too you'll get to see. But yeah. So this is probably the biggest low percent race, like I said, ever. So I really appreciate everyone joining.
Yeah, it's not a category that's really been showcased anywhere before. I don't think it's been in any major speedrunning marathons. So this will be the first time we really get to see it. There really are only a few listable differences between this and an 90% speedrun, but the differences really do have a significant impact. Even just not upgrading your sword to level 3 makes a huge difference on every boss fight after Thieves Town in the run. But there's other interesting things, like not picking up the boomerang actually will change the contents of a chest later in the game, which dramatically affects the rupee route. So we'll talk about that a little bit later when we're actually in the run and collecting rupees.
Yeah, that's not only that, like for those who are like really experienced in doing NMG, the menus are very like weird without the boomerang there. So I know I'm notorious for just being stuck on the menu for like a couple extra seconds trying to remember what the inputs are.
Another interesting thing about low percent is Link to the Past is a game that isn't really known for getting new tech all that often anymore. But low percent actually recently just is the first category to use the famous Houlihan room in the route. It's the first new major tech change in a major leaderboard category in quite some time. So we'll probably see at least one of the featured runners right now. About 6 minutes into the run, you'll see a visit to the famous Houlihan room. But it's a thing that we've always talked about, getting into the run in some form or fashion. And about 2 months ago, somebody found a way to make it worthwhile in low percent. So you'll be seeing that today.
It's kind of interesting, yeah, because it's almost like I feel like it's like a gray area for a glitch, but I guess you can say that the developers did intend you to find the room somehow.
Yeah,
whether it was by mistake or purposely manipulating some way to enter it. So I don't know. I think it should be fine or be allowed in a category like this where it's not really changing too much. You're not saving minutes or anything by doing it. So
yeah, I think you would really have to hate fun in order to nitpick about it. I think the worst that you could say is, "Oh, it's a wrong warp." But to that I say, "Oh, shut up and enjoy the race."
Yeah, it's not like you're not saving and quitting either, which is also banned in this category, which it's pretty much tradition to have save and quit banned in no major glitches categories. So I guess we're just pretty much waiting for everyone to ready up. There is a bot in the chat. His name is Helpasaur King. If you have any questions, I guess, in terms of what pumping is and stuff when we start going over things like that, there are some commands you can type in the chat, and I'll try to keep up with that myself. I'm sure Scrivo will too.
Yep, the commands list, Helpasaur just shared that out in the chat, so you can click there, and any of those commands, if you hear us mention something and you see an associated command, you can type it in and then get your answers.
Yeah.
So, how many people do we have in this race today? It looks
like about, I want to say, over 20.
We don't have to estimate. There's 24 entrants.
24 entrants. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the entrants right now. You have a lot of your Link to the Past known names up on the stream right now: Zelna, WQ, Timon, and The Godfather. You've got some newer names in there. Greenham, Mishrak, Emma have recently started running low percent and have all been steadily climbing the leaderboard. And you've got some people that you would know them, but not for Link to the Past. I see the Kaizo King, Duty Chahedron, Dodecahedron is in this race.
Poor dude.
We've got the GBA Metroid God JC87, and we've got a few Final Fantasy runners I see in there, and of course everyone's favorite robot, ACMLM.
He just PB'd, I think, not last night, maybe it was the night before, but he just PB'd in this category. So it's really cool to see him come back to it. He's really close to his sub 130, which I expect these top 4 guys here, they should get a sub 130. I would say all 4 of them.
Well,
it's really hard to say though. Like I can guarantee that someone's gonna die to a boss somewhere. It just happens. It's a really tough category. If you really want to challenge yourself, just completing a run of this category is hard enough. Getting one deathless is another challenge. So I'd be surprised if nobody dies.
Not necessarily relevant to this race, but there is a niche category of low percent called low percent damageless, where as if deathless weren't hard enough, 2 people have completed the game low percent, taking 0 damage, and one of those is the old pro at this game, Crystal, and the other is our low percent world record holder, Zelna. Zelna, who actually very recently got a 124, low 124 in low percent, which I believe the only word for that is ridiculous. That cuts nearly everybody's NMG time. But
a lot of the new stuff that was found kind of helped push the time lower for low percent, because no one's really optimized this category. I think I'm pretty sure no one's really put time into it, and I think the only reason this category exists is because Crystal used to do low percent damageless runs. So I don't even think she did regular low percent without damage. I think she just did damageless, which is
not towards the end there. If she had done it, it would have been earlier in her career.
Yeah, she. If you've never seen that run, I recommend watching it. It's by far one of the best runs ever done of this game, and it still holds today. Like, Zelda still hasn't beaten that time.
Right.
So, I mean, definitely watch it if you're interested in stuff like that. Yeah, we still got about 10 people waiting to ready up. I need to drop the release, actually. I'm just waiting.
So normally this would be the time where we would go around and make predictions, but in a volatile category like this, I think making any guesses would be
it's hard to say. WQ farmed me, Zelna, and Timon last night in a race, and he actually reset because he grabbed the boomerang, so he still beat 3 of us. So honestly, it's anyone's game. I don't know, it's hard to predict. I think, WQ and Zelna have a solid chance of taking first place, but I mean, Timon doesn't die and both of them take a death, and Timon can win it, or anyone really.
Yep.
Or RPG. I mean, RPG, he's the god of low percent, man. He's been running it longer, I think, than almost anyone.
Yes, a strange thing about RPG is very early on, as he was learning and running this game, even in any percent runs, he was dropping optional safety items that he still probably should have been picking up. But that really taught him a lot about survivability, because despite the fact that he would die very often in the early game, he just kept powering through it. He didn't start picking up safeties again. He just did it.
Yeah.
Kept doing it until he got a little better and became better at surviving. And that's what's made him a surprisingly strong low percent runner.
Yeah, he dropped a Saint card, I think, before he got sub 130.
Oh, yeah.
Which is almost unheard of. Like, most players, I mean, there's 124 players that still get the Saint card.
He's actually even the reason you dropped Saint card, if I recall.
Okay, yeah, so a long time ago. I guess I have time to tell this story. I told RPG that if he got, I think it was a 132 or something, he got a 132 in NMG, I would drop the Saint card. And he was far off from that time, way back when. And, of course, I was eating my own words there and had to drop the Saint card at mid 127, I think it was. I was a 127 player, which is not something that's recommended to do when you're speedrunning this game. But honestly, I got so used to running without it, and I was powering through it as well. I just don't even think about it anymore. I didn't even grab it in the GDQ race because I was just so comfortable without it, because it's just like whatever.
Yeah, for the runners that aren't used to going without Saint card, where they'll start feeling the pain is going to be Tower of Hera. That usually is, you can usually get through Eastern with no problems, as long as you remember not to do the damage boost with only half a heart. You can usually get through Desert pretty close to damageless, but the Hera segment is where you'll start seeing the death counter increment for some of the less experienced runners, and even for a few of the more experienced runners. Sometimes you just get caught in a rain of boulders and there's nothing you can do. And with only 5 hearts, it does not take much to kill you. So,
yep. It's it's rough running without the Saint card for a while. I mean, there's a lot of differences in the run. Like in Palace of Darkness is probably, outside of Hera, Palace of Darkness is another big one, because when you enter Helmasaur, any type of damage you take from him is 2 hearts. So that gives you 1 full less hit. Instead of 7 hearts, you have 6. So after 3 hits, you're dead. Same with Skullwoods. Skullwoods is another one I feel like is affected by the Saint card. Having that extra heart really helps in that dungeon. And I'm trying to think of others. I know Meyer is probably...
Meyer's big.
People. Yeah. Ganon's Tower, maybe.
By the time you get to Ganon's Tower, though, you have, 12 hearts? So,
yeah,
if you're gonna,
13. Yeah,
if the Saint card was going to save you.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest... Yeah, it's really like dealing with Death Mountain when you're in the Hera segment. Because if you take 3 boulders to the face, you're entering Hera with 2 hearts. That's it. And there's no, real heart pickups outside of the Moon Pearl room, or at the end if you decide to hit the safety switch.
The Switch of Shame.
That's another good name for it.
I
don't know any other names for it.
Yeah, I
Neither
can't.
do I. Fine.
Have we named that switch after any players? Can we call it the Josh switch or something?
Who hits the switch? That's what you need to. That's how you name a switch after someone. You got to find a player that always hits the switch.
Oh, that's me. And then I do early bomb jumps just to answer that.
I've already had the switch in Swamp Palace named after me, so I'll pass.
Is that the Scrivo switch now?
Yeah.
That's a good switch to miss.
It is a good switch to miss.
Chris is confirming the route right now in the chat.
Oh god. I remember Christos is notorious for like signing up for stuff like this, and then he just doesn't practice anything.
He said he was gonna practice
He forgets. I think he just is like, he just is whatever. He just goes in and he just does the best he can. I know Chris is gonna do well.
He'll keep a stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people still to ready up. 5 if you count Blunt Bunny.
Yeah, I'll drop out as soon as the last person ready is. Just so we kind of know when to get ready. Oh, we got TGH in here too. He's pretty new to this game, and I don't think he's practiced anything for this category, but I bet he'll do pretty well outside of
He's done a few streams of low percent.
Oh, he has? I guess I totally missed them.
I don't know how many of them completed.
Yeah.
But he has TGH is most famous for being the world record holder in LADX. Then he decided to pick up Link to the Past and casually got a 127 within about 3 weeks. So he's one of the in the history of this game, he's probably one of the fastest to the 127 mark.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he improved very fast.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he's by far the fastest improving player I've seen since I've played the game.
Yeah, actually 2 of the fastest improving players I've seen since I started are both in this race. Shadows 4511 is another person that went from who's this guy to, oh, this guy just cut me very quickly. I think he was sub 130 within a month of starting runs as well.
Yeah, I think he also did a lot of practice offline, but still, I mean, that's really fast. You can just tell, like, there's so much more resources available now where it's just a little bit easier to get times like that. But, I mean, you still have to grind. All right, I'm going to drop out of this.
All right, looks like we're getting ready to start.
All right. All right, who wants to talk about pumping?
Nobody. And that's why we have a bot.
No, so we're talking about this. This is legit, man.
What?
Do you actually want a brief pumping explanation?
You don't have to go into detail. Just kind of like give them an idea what's going on, I guess. I mean, I would explain it, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So movement and speed in this game, Link moves at roughly 3 pixels per 2 frames, but obviously you can't move a fraction of pixels per frame, so you don't move 1.5 pixels per frame. Instead, you alternate a movement pattern of 2 and 1 pixel every frame. That's lateral movement. If you're holding diagonal against a wall that forces lateral movement, it uses the same pattern. However, it does reset the pattern back to the beginning. So in some directions, you can reset the pattern back to 2 every time you change direction, thus potentially boosting you by a single pixel. So since every pump has roughly a 50% chance of being successful, and because the movement speed is 3 pixels per 2 frames, we'll say each successful pump saves about 2/3 of a frame, and at 50% chance, we'll say on average, each physical act of pumping saves roughly 1/3 of a frame, which means that in order to save roughly 10 seconds, you need to do 1,800 inputs. And they're going to do that throughout this run, and you won't see it at all.
I was told there would be no math.
I also have
probably the fastest explanation I've ever heard.
I have the calculation here for the Houlihan room, the math that has to fail. I can post that in chat if anybody's interested in seeing that.
I'd kind of like to see that, actually.
Oh, I can totally post it.
So
here it goes.
So we are making our way through the escape. The escape is generally identical to that which you would see in the 100% category, and very similar to the NMG category. In 100%, you would also skip the blue boomerang. So if you've seen a 100% run, you've seen this escape. So you won't see a whole lot of differentiation between the runners.
Yeah, the first thing you're going to see that's different is the first key guard, or not the first key guard, the second key guard that's coming up. And since they're gonna not grab the boomerang here, they're gonna do a different strat. They're gonna alert the guard a bit earlier than normal, and the guard's gonna come towards you. Now this trick is actually a little bit harder than it looks. You can actually save quite a bit of time if you can get the guard to die right by the door, because the key will drop right next to it. So let's see if any of these guys can do it.
So yeah, they'll clang the door twice, lure the guard.
Looks like RPG was the only one who got it. Wow.
Nice.
That was the most optimal grab for sure.
All right, and now a check in the chat. Did anyone get the boomerang?
Doesn't. Well, no one in the 4 screens that I'm looking at got the boomerang. Oh, Dode got the boomerang. I knew somebody would.
Shahadron.
It's a good thing you asked that question now.
Alright, Dode's disqualified.
Alright, so
he can reset if he wants to.
yeah, it's this early in the game. You typically just restart and take your 2-minute and 38-second time loss.
Well, that'll put him at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I expect
Slightly.
a lot of players going to lose that much or more time in other ways in this run.
All right, so none of our 4 runners that we're watching right now got the boomerang, but they all got a princess, and now they are going to make their way out. A lot of runners confirming in the chat that they found the lantern, which is good.
Oh yeah, you are going to need that. That is not an optional item.
Yes, so
in Hyrule, you cannot push a bookcase unless you are equipped with a lantern.
yeah, it's an interesting thing. I can't tell you when I first started this game how many times I got to that shelf and was like, why can't I push it? I don't understand. Or another telltale sign is you're ahead of your normal escape pace.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
I did watch a run the other day where somebody got the lantern, made it back to the throne room, and found that they had no princess.
Oh,
That can happen too.
I saw a WQ do that once a long time ago. He just joined some random race with some new players. It was a Master Sword race, and I think he still won. All right, now they're entering what we call the sewers. This segment has a lot of enemy RNG that has to be reacted to. The boomerang does actually help a lot here because you can stun enemies with a single action, whereas a sword would take 2 actions to kill them. You can also use it to collect the key from the key rat. If you get bad RNG, it can speed up that a little bit. Really, it just improves the average quality of this segment, but doesn't necessarily improve the maximum or the best potential speed that you can execute this.
It requires a lot more better RNG. So like we're gonna get to the key rat here and see how the RNG works out for these guys. Oh, Zelda got the best RNG. WQ getting the worst.
Yeah.
See how much time WQ lost against a good key rat. That's just, there's so much more variance in that room because of that.
Yeah.
We call that the Northwest Key Rat, and it is dumb.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not used to it, and you get the Northwest Key Rat. A lot of players when they're typically learning the game will throw the boomerang, get all the way to the door, and not realize that you're gonna miss the key when you do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, you can't see the key traveling behind you, so you can get all the way to the door and not even realize that it's not in your boomerang.
All right. So there's a chest, and you're never going to see that chest opened, and you'll never see it again.
And if someone opens it, they're disqualified.
That's right.
Gotta start over.
Now, I think the start of the Rupee route is coming up.
Yep. So typically what you would see in a run is that they would head straight to Eastern Palace, but at least Timon, you're going to see him take a slightly higher path once he gets past the graveyard. He might actually go through the graveyard, depending on how he does this. Yeah, so Timon's going to turn up through the graveyard.
Zelda as well.
What they're going to do is they're going to jump in the water 3 or 4 times, and what that's doing is it's dislodging the camera. So when they then cut this bush and enter it from below, it doesn't know where that hole really is. The error handling takes effect, and here they are in Chris Houlihan's secret room. This room, we call it the Houlihan room because a long time ago there was a Final Fantasy I contest where the first player to take a picture of a rare boss in Final Fantasy I called the War Mech and send it into Nintendo Power would get their name in a game. Chris Houlihan took a picture of the War Mech, sent it in, and when they finally got around to it, they buried him in a room that most players will never see.
That's right.
And actually, you'll see RPG is in the lead here because he actually does the original Rupee route. I think he didn't. I don't think he changed his route.
So they're going to need 100 rupees, 110 rupees to get into Palace of Darkness, and they will need 500 rupees to get the flippers. Flippers are not skippable. You need them to get through Swamp Palace without glitches. And I believe that's the extent of the rupees. So they should have picked up about 200 to 210 rupees in the Houlihan room. They will get 300 rupees later in the Dark World, and then I believe you'll see Tree Rupees one time, which we'll explain when it happens.
That sounds correct.
So we're here in Eastern. RPG is killing some Stelphos before they appear. Well in the lead, deceptively. He's 3 rooms ahead, but 200 rupees behind.
That's right.
So what you're seeing here is they're maneuvering in this room to throw the pots at the Stelphos before they spawn. By moving in a particular pattern, it causes the first Stelphos to attempt to spawn out of the room, which pauses the spawning pattern. While that one tries to spawn out of the room, the bottom one tries to spawn on the pot. They'll never spawn. You can kill the left and the right before they actually show up, and that's the quickest way to clear that room. It's probably the first actual trick, first actual speed tech of other than pumping of the run.
Yeah, and the next cool one is coming up here. What we tend to call the big key skip. You don't really skip the big key, it's just a skip to get it a little quicker. Normally you'd have to kill all enemies in the big key room to get this circle of anti-fairies to disperse, so you can hit the switch, but instead they'll do a simple damage boost, as you saw RPG do, to pick up that pot and hit the switch much faster.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a scary, this is actually a scary segment without the Saint card, because you have to be pretty confident in your ability to do this trick, which, I mean, it's not that hard, but still, doing it fast and effectively, which it looks like everyone did, be kind of tricky sometimes.
And if you are too scared, there are 2 pots in that room that have hearts. If it goes wrong the first time, or you just are lacking in confidence proceeding through the rest of the dungeon with only a heart and a half or less. But of course, none of these 4 need any such help.
Looks like only Timon picked up the extra arrows in the big chest room. And there is an optional pot which only saves a second by skipping it, but your arrow count is very tight in this category, which, I mean, Zelda and WQ are probably comfortable with still skipping it. So
yeah, so there's 3 enemies that you can kill to potentially get a arrow drop. You're going to need to get 1 out of 3 to have enough to kill Armos, and it's possible. The second one will drop a heart, and the third one will drop another pack of arrows. And if you get that one, then you're extra lucky. So basically, it's a 1 in 8 chance that you're going to be fine, or 1 in 8 chance that you're going to be not fine, 6 in 8 that you're going to be fine, and 1 in 8 that you're going to be very happy.
Zelda going for the middle Armos.
Oh yeah, quite a difficult quick kill that he's trying there. Ooh, with a good ending too.
Wow, I haven't seen that in a while.
The other thing I noticed from Zelda is in Zelda Gamer Room, the room 2 rooms before Armos, Zelda conserved some arrows by killing both of the Stelphos with pots. Most of the other runners will use arrows to do that quicker, but knowing the arrow route being as tight as it is, and not wanting to waste time going out of his way for pickups, he opted to use the 2 pots to take care of the Stelphos. So now we are going to visit everybody's favorite secluded Hyrulean cowboy, Sahasrahla.
This is actually the first part we're going to see RPG, I think, lose a little time because of the rupee route. I'll be picking up the rupees in here.
Yep.
That'll allow the others to catch up to him.
Yeah, so everybody else got the 200 RPG with 1 chest turn.
Ooh,
Oh,
one
one
chest
out of
turn. Oh,
three
come
on
on.
chest turns? RPG is disqualified from the race.
Yeah, let's get someone else on stream. Let's get him out of here. Chest turn is just a nice little swag trick you can do when you go to open a chest. You can actually open the chest and press the direction on the same frame, and it makes Link turn around. It's just almost useless in most cases, I would say.
We did also just see our first minor glitch of the run, the spin speed. Japanese 1.0 exclusive by releasing a spin, and on the frame after you release the spin, you press the A button to dash. Link enters a glitch state. If you touch a manual staircase, you can then move freely at the dashing speed. You see RPG utilizing it right now to get quickly to the library. You can also arm that glitch state with the hook shot and with a medallion also, by item dashing with those. You'll see some hook dashing later in the run.
That's right. We'll see other applications of the item dash as well. I think the first one will probably be the hammer dash. It may be the boomerang dash in an any % run, but of course they're not going to have a boomerang, so we will not be seeing that in this run.
Hey, I remember that in the tile room.
Yeah.
Blunt yelled at me the last time I commentated a race for calling for a boom dash when he had no boom.
Ooh.
Well, it was...
Yeah.
I think that some players like to do, and I guess Zelen just did it, is timing out menus at specific times to sort of buffer movements. So if you can, activate the menu to stop the in-game timer and all movement and every enemy pattern and everything, and then judge the situation in order to execute the next part of the area better. You see WQ doing it there to make sure that his dash is lined up, as well as it could be Timon doing the same. It's a good way to optimize movements.
So looking at arrow counts here, WQ only has 4 arrows. He will have to make a decision when he gets to the end of this dungeon whether optimally the Landmolas take 12 arrows to kill if you hit every shot, but usually at less than 25 arrows you make the decision as to whether or not you're going to go out of your way and pick up a safety arrow pot. I doubt WQ will do it. He's pretty confident in himself. Zelma went in with 5 arrows, so he'll get with 25, and the other 2 had over 10, or close to 10, so they'll be fine.
Looks like I think WQ slightly in the lead here, and then Zelna's not too far behind. Actually, RPG's looks like he was in second, but again he lost time because of grabbing the Shrashla rupees,
and he's still 100 rupees behind.
Yep. Which he'll be getting the extra 100 from... Oh, that chest turn is just so fresh.
Zelma getting the good cannonballs, the other 3 having to stop.
Yeah, that room, the cannon, it's really weird how they work, but you're either going to lose a second or you're not.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a runner named Mike the Viewer who's done some really nice science on the cannons that you can... and as well as a lot of other parts of the game. We have an ALttP speedrunning wiki that I just linked in the chat. If you have any thoughts on running the game or have any questions about some of the stuff that you see, that's another great resource from the community.
We're going to see another super speed potentially coming up here. This one can be quite risky because if you touch a ledge at all while in that glitch state, you will jump instantly. You're going to make a very tight little turn here to mess up. Lose a minute. If you get it, you save half a second.
The way WQ does that always scares me. It's always really strange. He walks off the stairs and holds diagonal immediately out of it. It just looks way superior.
Oh, key dashing. So key dashing is a thing that you'll see a few times during the run. Normally, if you try to dash through a locked door, you'll bonk off of it. But if you line up with anything that's 4 pixel multiples from the door, which pretty much every object in the game is placed in multiples of 4 pixels, you will hit the unlock trigger without interrupting your dash, and you'll be able to proceed on through.
Yeah, pretty much every object in the Super Nintendo is placed on multiple 4 pixel intervals. It's just the way the system constructs games.
So WQ did skip those arrows going into the Landmo fight with 24. Zelma's first in the door, gonna dash up, buffer up, and start killing some worms.
Yeah, this is a very difficult fight to optimize and do consistently well because of how impactful RNG is on the fight. Ideally, or optimally, really in real time, you want to get a 2-cycle. 3 or 4 is pretty much acceptable, though some players might not be happy with 4.
Very early 3 from Zelma.
Yeah, very good.
See, WQ is already realizing that his arrow route is probably not where he wants it. I saw him take about 6 slashes at a landmo there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a rough fight for the other two, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Tim and NRPG are both not liking what they just got.
Yeah.
Most of the bosses in this game most of the bosses in this game, they all have RNG, but it's usually reactable. The Landmola's one is one of the few bosses that can give you RNG patterns that you just can't do anything about. A short hop away from you into the corner. If you guess at a position, he can just go the wrong way and see you 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's same with Moldorm. Like it's only the light world bosses too. Like,
Right. Oh, here's the fake flippers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you may notice that they have not actually collected the flippers yet, but they are swimming. The game will give you 1 frame of movement for some reason before checking if you have flippers, and you can activate a screen transition on that exact frame. The next frame after the transition ends will not check if you have flippers ever, so you sort of bypass the check entirely by jumping in right on the edge of the screen transition there. This is a little shortcut across the overworld. It seems like it would save a lot of time, but it actually ends up only being about 6 seconds compared to dashing across the entirety of Hyrule to get to the mountain cave.
It does actually add an element of danger as well. If you get hit by an enemy on a screen other than the one that you performed the fake flippers glitch on, the game will soft lock, and all you can do is save and quit or power off your console. So
quitting is technically banned, so you'd be
resetting.
You'd be resetting for sure, yes. Even in this race setting, unfortunately, you'd have to reset or forfeit.
Yeah, really, I think the only thing you could possibly do to not have to save and quit would be to kill yourself with bombs. But I've never seen anybody do that, and you usually don't have that many bombs at this point in the run.
Yeah, and that will be emulating a save warp anyway, so we'd have to ban them if they did that for life.
Call the speed cops. So another spin speed there to get up the mountain, and some good old double pumping.
This is a really hard screen to not take damage on. I mean, I'm actually surprised none of them are really taking too... I mean, looks like RBG had it the worst. He lost 2 hearts, but I mean, you gotta just take what you can get when it comes to Death Mountain. I mean, it's
the aggro crag.
Yeah, you're just gonna take damage sometimes. You can't do anything about it. You can't.
Yep. So we are here in the Tower of Hera. Like I said, this is the segment that will probably make less experienced runners wish for the sank heart. A lot of rooms that you can. First of all, it has the first bomb jump that you're going to see, so you're going to be intentionally taking at least 1 heart of damage. Moldorm can be a tricky fight that can ding you for a few hearts, and if you're not paying attention, or if the petting zoo just chooses to do you in, you can take some damage there. And of course, Death Mountain.
Tile rooms have a bad reputation in ROM hacks as being kind of a boring room that you have to wait through. Luckily, they're not too prevalent in the vanilla game. At least you don't have to wait for almost any of them, except for this one. They're going to try to optimize the room as much as they can by having a dash already charged up and ready when the last tile dies, so they'll be dashing through the door. RPG chose to use an arrow to hit the switch and get the invulnerability frames there.
That does not roll deep at all.
But it's like he could probably just leave now and like go, have a nap or something.
That does not roll deep at all.
He shoots the tile with the. But he just doesn't care about his arrow count, so I mean.
Apparently not.
Most of the time, you don't want to waste your arrows on something like that.
So there's the switch of shame. Zelda dashing past it, of course, not hitting it. Timon, meanwhile, having a beetle party.
Yeah.
Definitely a nice little party there.
The beetle room has a very well optimized strategy. Oh, here's the early bomb jump. A menu to help check his pixel position and then do his last adjustment that he needs to there. Good thing he didn't fall down.
So that bomb jump, typically you need to be 2 pixels from the hole to get the bomb boost, but if you stop and bonk off one of the adjacent walls, that expands the window to 6 pixels. Zelna doing the early bomb jump had to make sure he was within 2, which is why he used that menu buffer to do that. The other ones needed to be within 6. And we are here in the Moldorm fight.
Yeah, this fight is the bane of many casual players' existences, as well as many speedrunners. These guys are pretty well practiced and won't have too much trouble. There's a few different strategies you can do here. You can do dashes sometimes, so that's not often safe.
Definitely.
Ooh, Timon is getting rejected by Moldorm, thrown out of the arena.
WQ actually made up time on that fight because Zelna could hit.
Zelna did some really unsafe movements there. If Moldorm gave him a little bit of a different pattern, he probably could have gotten knocked off there.
RPG is getting rejected.
Oh man!
Timon definitely got rejected.
Oh, Timon got knocked down. So when you get knocked down by Moldorm, you have to start the fight over. So
big time.
That is yes.
It's terribly frustrating, especially for experienced players who have done this fight thousands of times successfly.
It does, It just doesn't seem to matter how much you practice. You're gonna get screwed sometimes. You just
There's not many rules you can follow in the Moldorm fight. Really, the only thing that you can be sure of is that wherever the head was, the tail's going to follow. So the best players, what you'll see them do is pay very close attention to the head and get in a position where they can slash where the head just passed them by. And they can get the requisite number of slashes in. Timon finishing it up. Now, a Moldorm fall in a normal NMG race might be a bit of a death knell, but in a category like this, anything can happen. So don't necessarily count anybody out yet. You are going to see, by the way, right now, Zelna and WQ in the Lost Woods are setting up something called tree rupees. So there's many pullable sprites in the game. Most of them are trees, but there's also a few statues and Mario paintings. When you pull a tree, the game looks at how many enemies you've killed and whether or not you've taken damage. If you've killed more than 4 enemies and you have taken damage, you're going to get blue rupees. And then if you can kill 4 enemies without taking damage and pull another tree, you will get 4 red rupees. So they're going to pull... they pulled 1 tree leaving Hera. That gave them the 4 blues. They picked up a few of those, and now they're going to pull another tree on their way through the Lost Woods to get the 4 reds, which will bring everybody up to... should bring everybody... the 3 runners that got Houlihan rupees will bring them up to 300, and then they'll only need the 300 chests in Dark World Kakariko. The old rupee route, which I believe you're seeing RPG do, he's either going to have to do tree rupees twice, or he's going to visit a cave after pod. So we'll have to see which of those 2 he chooses.
I'm pretty sure he's for sure doing the second tree. So what you're going to see is basically what Tim and WQ and Zelna just did, where they killed 4 enemies and pulled the first tree, but he's going to kill another 4 enemies on the way to Aghanim's Tower and pull another tree that's going to have reds in it.
Yep, the tree on the east side of the courtyard is also a pullable tree.
It's also a backup tree, too, if you ever need.
Probably the one pullable object that the fewest people know about, and I've met many speedrunners that don't know about it, the right paw of Turtle Rock.
That's a good one.
I don't know under what circumstances you would feel the need to pull it, but if you ever need 20 rupees late in the game, there you go.
So both WQ and Zelna are entering Aghanim's Tower. Now, there's not too many differences here in terms of this dungeon versus regular any percent. But when they get to the Circle of Pots room, they don't have a boomerang to grab the key. So you're going to see a different type of strat here. To
RPG getting his second tree.
Nice.
So that pulls him up to the same rupee count as everybody else. See that right there. You see the difference in Houlihan rupees and tree rupees. That's how much time the Houlihan tech saves. The gap that's open between Zelna, WQ, and RPG.
Yeah, basically, when you do the Houlihan route, you don't have to farm any rupees. You don't have to grab any rupees on the overworld or anything like that, because you're pretty much set once you leave that room. Whereas if you're doing RPG's route, chances are you're going to have to collect rupees somewhere. didn't really talk about the dashing through the guards in that room here, but when you dash through an enemy, prizes don't drop, so you don't get any items. So in that
Sounds like it would be a bad thing. Why is that a good thing?
Well, well, in that particular prize pack, there's a fairy drop. It's the second in that prize pack, if I'm not mistaken.
It's third. Or is it second?
No, it is second. Yeah, it's heart and then fairy.
Oh.
So there's no other enemies aside from a Helmasaur in the next dungeon that you encounter in that prize pack. So when you get to Turtle Rock, you'll be fighting these like these pokey enemies. They look like they're from Mario.
WQ fell.
Oh, I hate that room on 1%. No, you don't have a boomerang.
No boomerang, no sword beams. Bit of a problem.
But yeah, anyway, so in Turtle Rock, they're gonna try to get a fairy drop from those pokies, which makes things a little bit easier in this category.
Yeah, it's the closest thing we have to drop manipulation in this game.
Yeah.
So we are now on 2 of our runners entering the Aghanim fight. The Aghanim fight is a cycled fight. There are 5 attacks per cycle. The first one is a guaranteed reflectable energy shot. Attacks 2, 3, and 4 are 50-50 coin flips, either a reflectable shot or a non-reflectable blue ball. And the 5th shot is going to be lightning that you just have to dodge. The best you can hope for is no blue balls, and you can get through in 1 cycle plus 2 additional attacks. And the worst that can happen is 15 blue balls, losing 15 consecutive 50-50 coin flips. That sounds rare, but it happens. I can tell you, it happens.
It's happened at least once, so we can confirm.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to count. It's too boring. I can't do it. Okay.
Looks like Zelna got
Not too many. I saw at least one.
Okay.
I think he wouldn't get 0 again in another
RPG.
Like, big race.
RPG having some fun with an alert in the upper right of his stream.
He had 1 blue ball.
Okay, that's really good.
The only real
6-second loss compared to perfect RNG.
The only other real tech there is to speak of in the Aghanim fight is, as best you can, try to reflect Aghanim towards the center of the room. That gives him the best chance of having a shorter warp distance to his next location.
Yeah, that was like the only optimization ever found for the Aghanim fight by a guy named Grass, or possibly Grass and him, if he had a different variation of his name.
So I think I got good luck too.
Yeah, nobody really got shafted by blue balls. It's nice to see.
That's pretty good, considering this wizard is a real friendly wizard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice guy, Aghanim. So, RPG is actually at 5 arrows, which is
Not
one
great,
short
Paul.
of like the minimum that he wants to have here. There's a chance he'll get a drop, and there's a couple of pots with him in them, but they're all kind of slow to get. And we're talking, the optimizations of this game, we're talking like 1.5 second lost is like a big deal.
RPG, freaking RPG. Is that Tupac? Is that Tupac I see? It's kind of blurry on my screen.
It's definitely Tupac. Shout out to Tupac. Alright, so we're entering Pod, this first Dark World dungeon. We're gonna see our first borderline major glitch. I don't know. Some people think it's a major glitch. I don't think it is. I think it's more of mechanic abuse. But it's not a glitch, right?
No.
See, if Scudge says it's not a glitch, it's not a glitch. But anyway, they're gonna be doing a precise bomb jump to get this hammer chest early. Yep.
Yeah, this is the most difficult bomb jump probably in this run, in most people's opinion.
And every now and then, somebody will come along and say, "Hey, isn't that clipping?" And we'll say, "Hey, look over there, a squirrel."
Yeah.
It's more of it's just the way
clipping. It's clipping.
I don't know about that. I mean, the rail physics are just a little weird. That's all.
Really, it's whenever an object is along the edge of a pit that you can walk on, you can just walk through it, and that's kind of what you're doing with this bomb jump, is letting the damage boost you through it. It's the way the game's programmed. There's other times we do it in the run, and there's other times you do it in a normal playthrough that you probably don't even realize that you're doing it. But yeah, it's just the way the game is designed to work. We'll just take advantage of it in this case.
So the way this bomb jump works is they are going to, and Zelna is entering the room now. He's going to move into the room, place the bomb on a specific pixel that will give him the opportunity to get bomb boosted, and then he will move up a set number of pixels. He's also going to throw another one across to blow the hole in the wall, and those two pixel-perfect positions will allow him to get boosted through the rail and onto the big chest platform.
Q's having a little trouble aligning himself, it looks like. He's good.
A few extra menu buffers to help him out there. Each extra menu is about a second lost, I think is how we estimate it. So you want to try to do that as infrequently as you can.
Yeah, the alternate is to go to the basement of Pod and pick up a key chest there. You would have to have, I think Blank did the math, about 30 plus extra buffers to lose time over getting the key chest. So,
which is a lot. I mean,
it's a lot.
An eternity to like set it up. So.
Yeah, it was a long video.
Yeah, looks like it's gonna hide a pretty good hammer jump. Let's see how RPG does. Yep. He's pretty far from the ledge there. Oh, it worked. He got a chest turn too. What a god!
So the weird thing about, and it's very rare that it happens, but every now and then you'll see somebody try it because they're cute. If you actually try to mirror on the same frame that you open that chest, you soft lock. If you actually try to mirror on the same frame that you open any in-dungeon chest, you'll soft lock. So
you know, it looks like it's going to work at first because you actually mirror and you keep the item, I'm pretty sure. But then you just can't move, right? So you're like,
correct.
Oh.
You can't even
you have this moment of hope that you found a time save, and then it's just shattered instantly.
Yep. Zelna having a bit of a Fiesta de las Tortugas in the turtle room. Ooh, that's a really good Pod Mimics room from Timon.
Yeah, that was really good.
That makes me feel
just gonna say it too.
Warm.
Oh, here we go. RPG is going to use all 4 of his arrows in this room. He's going to need one for the next room. So, yeah, he'll have to pick up that pot. Yep. That's a shame.
So the Helmasaur fight...
Go ahead.
Helmasaur fight is 2 stages. You have to break the mask off with 17 hammer hits, while Helma dances around and occasionally spits fireballs. The best thing that you can do on that is try to get the 17th hit while the fireballs are on the screen, and you can despawn them and let you move on to the second phase quicker. But after that, you need to do either 4 hammers, 4 spins, or 8 slashes to the jewel to complete the second phase. WQ is low on health. Okay, he's good.
Yeah,
Helma is brutal.
His strat is a little bit more risky for the first phase, but it's definitely, I think, faster overall. It's really hard to compare these strats. Like, you'll see Timon and Zelna and probably RPG as well they're holding the sword out, which actually makes the hitbox for the hammer larger. So it's easier for them to hit the mask, but it's also harder to move around the room because you're holding your sword out.
Yeah.
Timon just got the fireball despawn if you were watching there, and then he's going to go in for the 4 hammer hits. Yeah, sometimes Helma can just decide to charge and pin you against the bottom, and if you don't know what to do, you're dead. If you do get pinned against the bottom, the best thing you can do is just slash left or right and release a double spin, and don't move up and down. But a lot of new players panic, and
he's in a very tight spot right now.
That was a tough position, but he handled it well.
Yeah.
My God.
Ooh, good. RPG phase, please.
Dude,
no! And
so unlucky there. He got a fireball for every single phase. Like, that's just so unlucky.
I haven't seen the map. What are the odds on a fireball? Is it 50-50?
50-50 for the tail always swings in the second phase.
Yeah.
Like, the tail will always swing, but it's still 50-50 whether you get the fireball. And he just lost 5 coin flips, it looks like.
The other issue is that now he doesn't even have enough arrows to get back through the Mimic's room.
Yeah, so he's
too bad. There's arrows in the room, but he's going to have to do something weird to get through it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I had a couple hits remaining.
And the thing is even with a pattern like RPG just got sank hard or not, you're probably dead.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered in this case. He was just really unlucky, I think. There's really not much he can do. But it looks like both Zelna and WQ are cruising through, getting the flute.
Yep, first dig flute for Zelna. What a god. And we are going to have
a heated race for the fastest guard in Hyrule, Usain Bolt. See if, we can get past him.
Or Hussein Bolt. Shout outs to Green Linen Shirt.
Did you know that Usain Bolt is a real person?
You know, I saw him on the Olympics. I was like, hey, they're talking about Link to the Past. Zelda is having some fluting problems.
Oh no.
He was a couple of pixels too far outside the radius in which the flute will call for the bird.
Yeah, actually, if the flute song is on, you really are supposed to have to wait a long time before you play it again. But if you charge a dash, you can actually play it again immediately. You can do a flute dash if you like, or just charge the dash and then press Y again right afterwards. So if you mess up a little bit, instead of having to wait, I recommend doing that instead.
RPG going for his revenge on Helma. No! Ooh, good.
Oh,
okay. I think we're good. We're good. No,
okay.
Yeah,
that was really close. That was a really close second fight.
Yeah. Watch Zelda here. He's going to walk onto the opposite end of that warp. It seems unintuitive because you have to walk a little bit farther, but there's this thing in the game called quick warps, where if you activate a warp tile in the correct coordinate position, it'll actually cut the animation short by about half a second. So there's a few places where it'll look like they kind of walk around him. Like it'll look like it's an accident, like they missed it and walked back onto it. But that's actually almost always intentional.
And the weird thing about it is it doesn't have anything to do with Link's position. It has everything to do with the camera's position. If the camera is on a particular X coordinate, you can get the quick warp. And Zelna just got a face full of fire from Ted the Horsehead. So he is 2 hearts down early in Thieves Town.
It should be all right.
Hey, I think he'll be fine. We are coming up on one of the most infamous rooms of the run, the famous Hellway, both infamous and famous.
Oh yeah,
I believe that. The Hellway is a conveyor belted room filled with spikes and an anti-fairy and some fire bars and a friendly little guy named Patrick Star. And there's 3 Patrick Stars right there. If you can get into this room and get perfectly centered on the conveyor belt, you have a chance of being able to dash clean up through the room, assuming the enemy RNG cooperates. Let's see if any of our Forerunners get it. Zelna did not.
Yeah, Zelna and WQ both got bad RNG, so they shouldn't have even gone for it with those patterns.
WQ got the God Pixel, but had to readjust because of the Patrick Star.
And that room is probably the biggest time loss in this whole dungeon.
I haven't checked.
Otherwise.
Have we seen any forfeits yet?
My laptop crashed, so
I'm in the channel.
I don't see any.
That's very nice.
Oh wow.
We haven't gotten to the real low percent parts yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here, because right after this segment is where things are going to start changing.
Yo, Timon with the God Pixel.
Ooh. Quite nice.
Zelna skipped the bomb.
He's got 6.
Yeah,
6 is fine. He's probably hoping he gets a drop so he can skip.
Oh, you need the room. You need more for the penguin room in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Maybe we'll use a single bomb in the bomb floor room instead of 2 to save 1.
Did Timon leave that room too soon? I did not have sound going.
Oh, I didn't see. I hope not.
I think he was fine. I'm sure he knows to listen for that. So when you bomb the floor open in the attic of Thieves Town, you have to hear the little jingle. The floor can open, but you can leave the room before the jingle plays, and it does not count as having opened the floor. And then you'll try to deliver the maiden to the final room, and nothing will happen.
Yeah, that's no fun.
It happens. It can happen to even the best runners. It usually happens in a setting where they're playing without game audio. Happened to ACMLM at a marathon earlier this year, where he didn't have game audio and couldn't hear the jingle, and got all the way to the end, and there was no light.
Yeah. We're on the Blind the Thief boss fight. This is notoriously one of the most difficult for casual playthroughs. I know for me it was very difficult when I was 7 years old playing this game. But for speedrunners, it's quite easy. The fight is completely scripted, not random at all. If you execute it the same or close enough to the same, it'll play out the same or close enough to the same. Becomes quite an easy fight.
There's a few different scripts that you can follow. The most common one is what you'll see all of the runners here doing, which is leading blind straight up to the middle. There are a few other scripted positions. I'm personally fond of bringing blind to the left side of the light, but people say I'm weird.
That's just crazy talk.
It's crazy talk.
So crazy.
As long as it works, that's all that matters. Because if the fight gets off script, chances are
you're dead.
Well, I mean, it depends on your health situation, but yeah, you know.
And the blind refight, especially in low percent, or none of these runners are ever going to have powder. But when you re-enter the blind fight from below, it's a much harder fight because you can't get onto a script.
Yeah.
All right,
so here's the other chance for people to throw away their run. You saw Zelna immediately went east and went into that rupee house. Normally in the NMG run, you'd go south into a bombable hut and pick up 300 rupees. Surprise! You would be getting a big red L.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't... yeah, that's... I'll never forget. I watched ACM do a run of this a long time ago, and he was in a big race like this, and he doesn't like the forfeit, and he he grabbed the red boomerang and hit reset.
Yeah. That's what you have to do, unfortunately.
Yep. You either reset or you forfeit. So.
Zelna's in the mummy room here. Had to readjust around the statues because the homing mummy came for him.
Now, I'd like to talk about how difficult this dungeon really is in this category. All the dashes you see on the overworld with the Ropas, they're not dying from the usual just dashing through them with the tempered sword. So Zelna, you're gonna see him being very careful where he starts his dashes and where he's walking, because it can get really, really scary in this dungeon.
Yep.
I mean,
we're about to see the first really different boss fight, and in Mothula, which is normally just for a talented runner over in the blink of an eye. But when you're only equipped with the Master Sword, it can devolve into a bad thing very fast.
I think we're going to see a variation of strats here between the runners too. I know Zelna has his own way of doing Mothula. Some players are going to go for the spins. Some players are going to try to use the fire rod, or a mix of everything else. I mean, it looks like Zelna did the faster strat here, and I think WQ does the same. But you'll see Timon when he leaves that particular area of Skullwoods, he goes around, because you can't dash through these guys. Those Ropas will not die. And this is what the game intended you, or the game intended you to play this dungeon with the Master Sword, because it's the third intended dungeon. So it's just
putting on a clinic in the mummy hallway. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So let's see how Zelna's gonna do here against Mothula.
One thing real quick, you saw Zelna kill that Gibdo in only 2 slashes. It normally takes 4 slashes with the tempered sword, but by hitting the Gibdo into the spike, it does spike damage, which is double damage. Or in that case, 4 times damage from what the Master Sword would normally do.
Speeds it up a lot.
Slashes.
Mothula, on the other hand, if you hit him into the spikes, he takes no damage, and any damage you did to him with the sword is canceled out. So that makes... but only got through it. Yeah, the only thing you can do when he's up on the spikes is to try to hit him with a poke dash.
Well, the spins actually work really good in this particular fight. They actually seem to hit more often than not. It looks like WQ, wow. I can't believe he survived that fight, honestly, because it looked really bad. But he went for more spins, and if he's at the top of the room like that, when you do spins, it actually more than half the time seems to hit him. It's just very, very risky holding your sword out in this room because the floor is moving and the spikes are everywhere. Let's see what Timon does here.
It's a little lower on hearts than the other players started at. Maybe a little bit more safe.
Yeah, 4
is 2 hearts.
Scary amount. Wow.
But he's got a few really good passes. Ooh, nice. That was
really
friendly. It's about as friendly a moth as you're going to see in low percent.
Yeah, that was really good. That was handled very well.
So I mentioned earlier that the Houlihan room is one of the first major tech upgrades that any major category of Link to the Past had seen. Another really small optimization that was recently found is that catching the crystal while standing in a very particular position can save you up to, I believe, 13 frames for each crystal that you catch. It's for many years, people assumed that you wanted to catch because catching the pendants as low as possible is fastest. They assumed that the crystals were the same way, but if you actually catch the crystal about 12 pixels higher than as low as possible, I believe is the math, you can save up to 13 frames.
Yeah, if you can actually catch
the crystal raising.
Yeah, the lower you stand, you can actually catch the crystal earlier, but the time spent for it to raise into position for the animation to start is actually significantly longer because it moves so much slower in that direction.
Yep.
Pretty cool observation somebody made, and then luckily we have people who are willing to test those things thoroughly to find out how to optimize them.
Yeah, it's not often these days where something new is found. Normally just maybe a new strat here or there. So we take the frames wherever we can get them.
Yeah, speaking of frames, they're going to stop their dash, or they're going to try to stop their dash before actually entering Zora's domain. That saves a pretty significant amount of time as well, because you gain control of Link much faster after the screen transition ends.
Any of those. He's down 5 hearts, so he must have hit the Snapjaw outside the pyramid for 3 hearts, and then 2 hearts he lost the lottery in front of the witch's hut.
What happened to him? It looks like RPG's going in the second part of Skull, or the last part of Skull with only 4 hearts, so this is going to be pretty scary for him as well.
Timon tried to farm a heart from a bush, but did not get the 50-50 drop.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So there's we talked about quick warps earlier. You see when these guys are getting the Quake medallion, they are bonking onto the side of the rock, and when the screen shake animation from the catfish interrupts that bonk animation, it places the camera in one of those offsets that works for the quick warp. Just bonking off the rock won't do it. You have to have your bonk interrupted by the catfish animation. And that will let you catch the medallion and immediately mirror, and you'll be on one of those quick warp positions and save a free half a second.
Yep. Yeah, RPG's not in a happy position right now.
No, he's not.
Oh, he got a fairy!
RP fairy got.
He's trying to farm for some extra magic, but got no magic drops and took a couple extra hearts of damage in the process. So it's really nice that he got that.
And he did just lose his sword beams. I'm pretty sure sword beams would have been very bad for the moth fight.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted those. Let's see how he handles this fight.
WQ playing risky with the... But I guess he played that fire rod late enough. If you kill those jellies in that second room of Ice Palace and leave the screen on the same frame that the last jelly dies, you despawn the sprites on the second... Well, you misplace sprites on the second floor. There will still be sprites, but they're the wrong ones. And you have to mirror out.
Yeah, you won't be able to progress.
So Moth didn't claim any victims for these.
Zelma still went with the double bomb, even though he only had 6. So he's going to place 1, pick 1, and be down to 4. And he should use 2.
He's actually okay on his bomb count as long as he doesn't use an extra one here, the bomb jump. Or if he hovers, he might hover. Hovering is another option in this. Oh yeah, he's going.
Wow, nice fast setup.
Yeah, that was really good.
So that bomb jump, you have 3 pixels from the edge of that hole where you'd fall in to place the bomb to the right of Link. And then if you move down into a position where the brim of Link's hat lines up with the line at the base of the wall, there's one other position that works sometimes as well, but the hat always works. You'll boost across, and I believe that bomb jump is the one that saves the most time. I think it saves nearly a minute over progressing through the dungeon.
Over a minute, in fact.
minute 20, I believe,
That's
is
a
the
lot.
number I heard.
Looks
WQ
like-
just with
Yeah,
the
that
really
is a new
neat
strat
penguin
actually. That variation of the penguin room. I think WQ was the one who found it. That actually saves a half second over the old strat where you just drop the 2 bombs and bonk over at the bottom of the room. But
Nice.
X-Release pointing out that what WQ did with that fire rod in the second room of Ice Palace is actually the correct strat. The fire rod animation delays the death of the third jelly to prevent right despawn from happening.
All right, here's Cold Stare. This is where you really want to pay attention to see what happens. Now,
Oh no. Okay.
So yeah, you're pulling out the hammer for this fight. It's a little bit faster. It does
So
the same as
scary.
Tempered Sword. It looks like Zelna is okay. Let's see how WQ does.
He's starting at a little bit less hearts. He will die in
Yeah,
one.
he's
Touches
in
him.
a very tight situation right
He had a better
now.
start though.
Yeah, he got a much better start, but he's being extremely careful here. And if he touches one of these puffs, he's dead.
And if he gets hit by 2 of the crystals, he's dead as well.
Yes. One's down. Very nice. Wow.
Yeah.
that was a very sketchy fight, but let's see if
WQ
Timon-
doing something that not a lot of runners know. If you hug the top wall, the ice crystals will despawn, I guess is the best way to put it, when they fall, and they won't explode. So you can't get hit by the ice crystals. So if you hug that top wall, you don't have to worry about the ice. You only have to pay attention to Cold Stare. He used that to his advantage a little bit at the end of the fight. Ooh, Timon.
Rough start.
Yeah,
Probably
Harry
played
took
safe
one
and used
hit.
the sword a little more. Well, maybe not. Sword's a little safer, but it does less damage.
There it
Okay, so the bad thing about it dying to Cold Stare is you have no magic. You need magic to get back into Ice Palace. So you have 2 options. You can either cut bait and go and complete Swamp and come back, but that is not something that top runners like to do. They will come out here and hope for a magic drop from one of these blue or one of these green blobs, and he got the full magic, so he was able to go right back in.
The thing about dying at Cold Stare is, since you're already skipping half or more than half the dungeon, you pretty much have to do the entire dungeon again when you die.
Yep.
So you need magic and you need to get through the dungeon again. So this is gonna put him and RPG a little bit closer now. As long as RPG survives this fight, they'll remain pretty close. It looks like.
Check out this anti-fairy skip from Zelna.
Yeah, Zelna's got
There
it.
it is. Nice.
What a god.
Shoutouts to Andy,
Yeah.
the master of the anti-fairy skip.
Master of Swamp too.
Yeah. What do I even do?
I don't know.
All right, let's see if WQ can do that anti-fairy skip as well. It's actually one of my favorite strats in the whole game. I love it.
Yeah, I wish I was good at it. This is the one strat I just can't do it for some reason.
You gotta pull the switch right. That's all there is to it.
I know, but I'm just so bad.
I still do that dumb swaggy strat you taught me at GDQ, and I
You
get
bonk?
crap for it all the time. The bonk.
Oh,
The bonk
dude,
and the
that's
pull.
so cool. Don't let anybody give you crap about that.
And see if Timmy gets this bomb jump again. Looks like he's
So, I was going to talk about how you would think that dashing to the pot is faster, but it's actually faster to walk up, hammer it, and dash out. And Zelna went ahead and dashed to the pot, and
It actually is
stole
faster
my
to
thunder.
dash.
It's-
You just have to be really, really good at stopping your dashes. If you're very good at stopping your dashes, you save about 5 frames there.
Yeah, at most.
Yeah. So, if you're like most people, I would say, like even WQ doesn't even do it anymore. I noticed that. But if you're stopping your dash too early, or if you stop it too late, of course you bonk. But if you stop it too early, you're not saving any time there.
Right.
So we're about to see round 2 of Cold Stare here. I know these guys are in Swamp, but I just want to really see if these guys can get past Cold Stare. This is probably one of the hardest parts of the run.
and one of the most demoralizing deaths.
Yeah, it's the hard. It's just such a difficult fight to do with the Master Sword. Let's see what he's got.
Timon going in with more hearts this time, so he should
Double poke.
got the spin.
And he got the fast charge. That is such a annoying thing that can happen.
Yeah, I would just use the sword more than the hammer now. He's staying on the top, as you mentioned earlier.
Oh my god.
Jeez. That was a distant hit, too.
Yeah.
His hitbox is really inconsistent. Sometimes he hits you from distance like that. If you watch that in slow motion, it barely will even look like it hit him.
Let's see how RPG does here.
Oh, wow. Some really questionable things just happened, but he came out okay, so... Wow. Really good hammers.
I think you just described every RPG speedrun ever.
Wow, I can't believe... Yeah, that was really sketchy, but it worked out. That's very nice.
That right there is what Rolling Deep is all about.
Yeah, I don't even know what just happened.
Man.
So
now, I guess we'll talk about Swamp a little bit. Swamp is pretty much almost the same as it is in NMG. You're actually intended to do this dungeon with the Master Sword, but there are a few little variations. Like some of the rooms you have to be a bit more careful because your sword isn't going to kill all the enemies like it normally does when you dash through them.
Yep.
But and Argus fight's going to be really interesting because I know both of these guys, or actually I know 3 of these guys know the optimal strat, and it looks really cool if it's pulled off correctly.
Ideally, you can do a combination in NMG with the hook dashing and dash pokes to kill Argus before he has a chance to do his hurricane attack. But you are not able to kill the puffs quickly enough with just the Master Sword. So you're going to see a strategy where they hook a puff, slash that puff, hook another puff, slash that one, killing the first one, hook another one, slash, killing the second, and so on and so forth as much as they can. There is an alternate strat where you hook menu to the hammer the puff, and kill it. But that's a lot of menus. It's a lot slower. It might be arguably safer, but I don't even know about that. But
all right, let's see. I finally got this fight down a little bit, but it's still very difficult.
Yeah, the cold stare fight is the reason why I am not in this race.
And Zelna.
Oh, Zelna going for the zero cycle strats though.
Yeah, Zelna got a really good start. And he's down to 3 hearts. You gotta really pay attention because puffs aren't dying as quick because you don't have the Master Sword. So he has to be really cautious here. Everything does 2 hearts on Argus. And that wasn't too bad. He got a 2 cycle. Let's see what WQ does here.
Second phase is hard too. 3 fire rods and a spin. Yeah, that's perfect. WQ is trying the same strategy.
Yeah. Again, this is a very difficult, this fight is probably the hardest to do optimally, I would say.
Yeah, luckily it's not too dangerous though, so even if you do mess up a lot, you're not about to die at any time.
Yeah, as long as you keep your distance and you're paying attention to your health situation, chances are you won't die. I almost died earlier because I wasn't paying attention to my health, and all of a sudden I'm beeping.
Timon knows better than to go back into cold stare with only 3 hearts. He's going to go pick up the fairy.
Very nice quick kill.
We might. I doubt that we'll see it.
There's
a combination of sword beams and fire rod shots on cold stare and kill him in only 6 fire rod shots, reserving 2 more to take out some puffs. It's a rare strat. You usually don't get a chance to do it. The people that are getting fairies in ice don't know about it, and the people that know about it usually don't pick up fairies. But he is low on magic.
He's going to try it. He's going to have to try it.
He's going to do the beam strat because he can only do 7 fire rod shots. So the idea here is that you want the sword beams to hit during the fire rod animation. You have a window where the sword beam will double the fire rod damage. Let's see.
He's got at least 1 so far, so he'll be able to... No, he got at least 1. Keep hitting him. No. I'm fairly sure that he could have finished.
Oh, he had it and he didn't realize it.
Yeah.
He did? I didn't. It didn't look like he did.
He got the first one.
Yeah.
And there's no real indication that you have it because you just have to kind of know. Otherwise, the only way you know is that the shell melts in 6 or 7 fire rods.
You might as well have at least spend the rest of his magic to see, but I guess he was confident that he didn't get it. I thought he did.
So Timon is opting to go ahead. He's going to go ahead and complete Swamp, get the magic refill from Swamp, get an extra heart. and come back to Cold Stare later.
That's a pretty good decision in this situation here, because I mean, again, that's the hardest. Like that's got to be by far the hardest fight to do outside of maybe Ganon.
All right,
it's just way too hard to just not take damage and deal with the puffs when they're not in sync.
We have had a couple of forfeits. Our first forfeit was Caven 856.
Wow.
And the second was a more unfortunate forfeit due to illness from Dodecahedron, who had to bow out due to not feeling very well at the moment. So 2 down, 22 to go.
All right. Well, next up dungeon we're going to see is the Misery Mire, aka the Mire.
The Mire.
This dungeon is
wow,
WQ got crabs.
Awful RNG.
That's a shame.
That's such a bad overworld. Like, this overworld is even worse in this category because you have... Optimally, you want to get to Vidi with 9 hearts. So you're going to be taking a lot of safe strats in Mire in general.
Ooh,
and it looks like you took another hit from a crab. Like, that's just so unfortunate, and I definitely feel his pain there, because
you're going to take 3 definite hits from getting a key. There is a safer key that you can get that requires taking no damage, but it's pretty slow. So he's already down 3, leaving him with 8. He's going to take at least 3, taking him to 5. There's 1 guaranteed heart pickup right before the big key door, and if he's lucky, he can also farm a heart off a Wizrobe that he has to kill anyway.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how he's going to handle this now, because he has...
Now, Mire 2, with all the popos, is also good for a few heart drops, but WQ doesn't strike me as the type of runner that's going to go chasing hearts all around Mire 2.
It might be good in this situation, I think.
Well, we'll see. There's 2.
Yep,
there he goes.
Like I said, you really want to just take the hearts in this situation, because him being down 3, he's going to take 3 no matter what, because he has to get the spike key, unless he wants to get another key that's just going to take longer. So it's actually faster to just grab those hearts and not opt out to having to get the backup key. All
right. So Zelna, first into the torch room, and I'm going to pull up a time. And that is a 104.20 torches, which is
about a 125 pace.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You got to remember that you don't get the tempered sword, so that saves a lot of time.
Yep.
What? Hello? That was pretty dishonest. WQ used the fire rod on the jelly and just went right through the jelly for some reason. This is a well-designed video game sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes things like that happen.
It was really unfortunate. It looks like Zelna's going for the damage boost. Oh no.
Nope.
The bailout.
I don't know if he realized it late or what.
Wait, low percent. I forgot.
You don't want to go for that boost at all. You don't want to take any extra damage. Like, Zelna's in good shape now. Even if he takes an extra hit here, he'll kind of be in trouble, but he should be okay. He's pretty good at this room. WQ is definitely going to have to be careful. He might try to farm a heart from the Wizrobe.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do much more than that.
That's what I usually do when I'm down an extra heart. Well, actually, he's going to be down 2 extra hearts. It looks like I didn't see RPG's Argus fight. It looks like it went pretty well because he didn't die.
He didn't die or anything. Pretty normal fight.
Just watching these guys do Mire, because it's like so scary.
Yeah, so for this boss, typically you do want to take a lot of damage intentionally. There's a quick kill you can do to kill all the small eyeballs before the big eyeball even has a single lightning cycle, but with this sword that they have, they're not going to be able to do that. They are probably going to do some damage boosts to do as much damage as they can before they get in a more precarious situation, and then do the finale of the fight a little more safely. We'll be seeing Zelna start that very soon. He does have a lot of arrows. You only need 8 to kill the big eyeball quickly, so he may opt to use some of them to kill the last few small eyeballs more quickly.
Alright. Yeah, let's see how he does this. Nice buffer.
And doing those damage boosts. If you walk into the slime, you only take a single heart of damage, and the big eyeballs only do 4 hearts, so that's a pretty nice protection there. Yeah, he's going to use arrows to finish his last eyeball.
Oh my god, he's
that too lightning?
So scary.
Wow, that was really good.
I wouldn't have went for that extra spin there, that's for sure. That's not too bad.
WQ's going for a heart, but I think he might lose one trying to get it. Yeah, lose 2 in fact.
Dude, that is
Those
so
guys do 2 damage for some reason. Ouch.
Man, this is gonna be pretty rough. I wonder. He has a lot of arrows, so he might be okay.
I think he'll do 1 damage boost. He's a brave player. He might even try to do 2 fast ones.
Yeah, he did go for 2. That's
2.
insane.
Oh man. Other than that, he's just gonna hope that enough of them come at him that he can do spins from afar. It's gonna be scary, but
Yeah,
see.
one heart vitreous is not a situation you want to be in.
No, especially in low percent, because the Master Sword is just
yeah, it's just not that strong.
not very strong at all.
If you have the
a lot of
tempered
arrows.
sword, you can hide on the far right pixel of the room up in the goo and not take any damage. But and time sword slashes, but does not work for the Master Sword
That
because
was
of
very
the
well handled, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, he survived. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing, really.
Actually, that's one of the other things about playing with the Master Sword that Zona having some
Boulder
dances
Party.
with squirrels. One of the other things that runners don't necessarily realize when they're playing with the Master Sword is that each sword actually has a larger hitbox. The Fighter Sword, the Master Sword, the Tempered, and the Gold Sword all have longer reach, so you can't necessarily hit things. You have to let things get. You would have to let the eyes get closer to you to slash them than you normally will with the Tempered Sword. So.
Oh, actually, I didn't know that. That actually makes a lot of sense, though. That's interesting.
Oh man, Timon's going back to Ice Palace. Hopefully with a fresher mindset, ready for his revenge.
Full magic, full
He's
hearts.
gonna get it this time for sure. He's got it this time. Meanwhile, RPG's unusually low on magic for some reason. Looks like maybe he had a Myra 2 party.
Probably did. Luckily, there's a full pickup there.
So Turtle Rock is actually probably the first dungeon that you're gonna see a lot of differences in. You can't spin these pokey enemies in this category because the Master Sword's not strong enough to kill them. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of Fire Rod strats used in this dungeon. So magic management is very important. Let's see how Zelna handles some of these rooms.
Yeah. So
Nice
the drop manipulation that we mentioned a long time ago should basically guarantee that he'll get a fairy in this dungeon, but it's not definitely going to be early, but there's a pretty good chance that it will be early. And there's a very, very, very small chance that it won't happen at all.
Timon had some bomb troubles. He had to pick up the bombs from the double Stelphos room.
Interesting.
And now he has 10, so
He got the 8 drop.
nice.
So you might see him shedding some extra bombs. But
Yeah, he might do that a little later.
I don't know how many chances you'll get to shed that many. He
Yeah,
has
the thing-
6 more than he needs.
The thing with these pokies that Zelna's
4.
going to be killing here is you only have a chance to get 1 item from them, 1 drop, instead of multiple, because the Fire Rod...
It's
Go
one
ahead.
if they have a guaranteed key drop, and 2 otherwise.
Yeah, the body will catch on fire, and then one last part of the body will go flying off, and both the main body and the flying Pokeball, we'll go with, can both give a drop.
What's up with this dungeon? It's like the Mario dungeon. They have chain chomps, and they have pokies, and they have traveling through pipes.
Yep. I don't know, man. They, It is really strange that this dungeon is oddly... And it's a turtle, like, in Mario.
It's It's Koopa Rock.
Nice lore. Alright, let's see if Timon's gonna defeat Cold Stare this time around. I like that he's just not backing out of that strat. He just
good start.
He's adamant about
crazy.
killing Cold Stare that way, which is good.
Ooh.
Yeah, one of the worst things you can do is start trying to play safe and trying to do things that you haven't practiced, and Cold Stare's dead.
Right.
So,
Nice.
yeah, if you start doing things that you haven't practiced and start ad-libbing, that is a good way to die.
Yeah, it's this game really punishes you for that. And now RPG is about to fight Vitreous. Let's see how he weighs in on this fight.
He also has a lot of arrows, so we'll be able to use those after doing the first few spins.
See if RPG can send Vitreous to the ICU.
Oh my
Hey.
god. Oh my god. Why, dude? You know what? I thought this whole time I wasn't gonna hear a single pun, but why am I not surprised?
Looks like Zelda got his fairy. Super
Team
healthy.
RPG did pretty well.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
good.
good. Oh my god.
That's a new one. I haven't used that eye pun before.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see? It's contagious. Like pink eye.
Like,
People are apologizing to me in the race channel because they're forfeiting. Don't apologize to me. The game's just impossible. I'm not even mad. She tried.
Alright, laser skip from Zelna, pretty good.
Yep. Coming up on Trinex.
The Trinex fight. Now, this is definitely a fight that's scary. It can either go really good or really bad. The Master Sword doesn't do enough damage to the heads at all. So, your magic management is very important in this fight.
Yeah.
So, what Zelda's going to be doing here is he's going to Ice Rod this Firehead and then switch to the Hammer, which does Tempered Sword damage. And then he's going to probably do some slashes on the Ice Head. To save
I'll
a
have
couple
to.
menus.
Because he can't menu while the other head's exploding.
Yep.
Might just do all slashes just because, he has enough magic, you might as well.
Yeah. Sometimes it's scary when you go for more slashes because it's really inconsistent with that Ice Head. What his HP is, it seems to be different sometimes. Sometimes he'll get hit twice, I think.
Yeah, from the Fire Rod.
Wow, what a nice quick kill.
Yeah. Really
That
nice.
was really good.
Didn't take any damage at all, did he?
The nice thing about the low percent fight is it actually means there's just as much boss battle as there is explosion.
Oh
Yeah, exactly. It balances it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see how WQ fares in this fight. He's got 5 parts, so it's a bit scary.
Yeah.
Since Trinex's attacks do about 4 if you touch him at least, I think.
All of his attacks do different damage.
What?
Like the fire that blasts from the Firehead does 1 heart of damage. It's way underpowered for some reason, but his toenail does 4 hearts. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so weird. I've never seen him fight Trinex before, I guess. I didn't know he did slashes on the first head.
Yeah, there you go.
So that was interesting. But he should be fine as long as he doesn't take damage from this snake head here.
Really nice Mire 2 from Timon.
Yeah.
It's really a beautiful room when it's done that well.
Cycle.
Nice and easy. Second phase as well.
Let's check out this Lionel screen. The one that Zelna's on here. He's gonna be. Oh, okay. I thought he almost forgot that you. So you can't dash through those guys with the Master Sword. They don't take any damage from the Master Sword. So if you dash into them with the Master Sword, you're just gonna take a hit. But that was really good reaction from Zelna.
There's a really famous clip of one of the racers, Christos Owen, putting up a valiant effort against those Lionels.
Yeah, it's
There it is.
There it is.
It was a 1-hit KO run, so if he took any damage at all, he would have died. Keep that in mind if you choose to watch that video.
Alright, so Ganon's tower is not too much different. It it is much more difficult in terms of survivability. Now, in these rooms, you normally use the boomerang to maneuver or to hit the switches and whatever, and you're just gonna have to use the cane here. So you're using magic, which is already like bad enough. Like, you don't want to use any extra magic because you need it for another mini boss fight later in this dungeon. Let's see, where are we at? Looks like RPG's about halfway through Turtle Rock now. Timon's about halfway through Mire.
Yep, RPG is in good shape at this point. Didn't get hurt by the chomps at all. That's always a good thing. Really clean run from Zelna and WQ so far, especially. RPG's not too far behind them either.
Bunny, I see you. Making an appearance on RPG stream, Blunt Bunny.
Oh, shout outs to Blunt Bunny.
Thanks for the shout outs.
Shout outs to shout outs. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and refight all of the Light World bosses now. First is the Ice Armos Ice Capades.
Oh my god.
I'm going to use one of the slower quick kill from the normal battle, but it's the fastest way to do this. Get in the bottom right, fire some arrows up, fire some arrows left, and then go around the ring to clean them up. And it's important to have a good Ice Armos fight. If the Ice Armos fight goes long, you can actually change the pattern that you're going to see in the Ganon fight. Not as big a deal in low percent because you're probably not going to get a 1-on-1, but it is still, you know, something to. It would be something different and unexpected. And the Ganon fight is interesting enough in this category as is.
Zelna had a little bit of trouble with the first Mimics room there. It's a really tough room to optimize.
And then cleaned up Mimics 2 really well.
Yeah. He's not a player who really gets flustered by mistakes. He doesn't like sort of spiral out of control when he starts messing up. He's really good at just keeping a level head and recovering after a mistake.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to see him play in the practice room at GDQ, and one of the things I noticed about him is that he doesn't let either really good or really bad things affect him. He doesn't get too excited, he doesn't get too down, he just plays his game, and that's pretty much why he's at the top of all the NMG. Oh, so Timon just had a really fun thing there where the lightning can catch your arrow.
I got so scared for him there. It was really scary.
He had an arrow headed straight for one of the little eyes, and the lightning actually caught the arrow and deflected it. The Vitreous Lightning and Beamos lasers can all actually block arrows.
Yeah, they're full solid.
Alright, so we got RPG on Trinex now.
Ooh, he's only using a nice bonk there to avoid the turret.
Got an ice rink here. It's NHL 94 all over again. Ooh, okay, so this is why the fight can get out of control. Look how this ice head is moving. It's just insane.
He's gonna cross the ice to hit it.
And he's
gonna have to wait until Trinex gets a little closer here, but he's about to charge his head.
He's got a couple more shots.
Oh, he's got one more shot, and he's got to kill him now.
You got one shot.
Okay, wow.
One opportunity.
That was really close.
Mom's spaghetti.
All right, now that scare is over.
I don't think I've ever seen RPG stand so far away from the freaking explosions in this. For good reasons too. He didn't want to die. So. Yeah. So now, it looks like Zelna's about to reach Moldorm. Let's see how WQ does against these worms here.
So we've got some other times right now. It looks like ACM had a 1:17:57 Trinex. Christos had a 1:18:49.
We're going to be switching it up here soon, as soon as a couple of these players finish, so we can see who else is It looks like Christos and ACM will probably be up next. Maybe Green.
And probably Meth.
And Meth too, yeah.
Here's Moldorm too.
Fusta's probably doing pretty well.
Come on, Zelna, show
He's
us.
gonna hover.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
He's gonna... No.
Yeah, he nice try.
Yeah.
Worm.
He was trying
So,
to.
hovering is a trick that appears impossible, especially when you hear it described to you, but it's not really terribly hard once you have some practice. Basically, if you charge a dash, for the first 31 frames of the dash charge animation, the game doesn't check to see if you should be falling, and then you can release A for 1 frame, press A again for up to 31 frames while using those dashes to buffer down over the hole, and you can just kind of float.
Yeah. Technically, it's 17 frame perfect or 27 frame perfect inputs in a row, but the technique makes it a little easier than that sounds. It's still pretty difficult to learn.
Yeah, and that's assuming that you get the downward buffer properly each time.
Yeah.
Looks like WQ lost his bomb in the last room.
Oh,
He's gonna go back and get some.
Yeah, that's a shame.
So normally, you're not worried at this level. You're not worried. Ooh, that's a good Aghanim fight.
Ooh, another hover.
Oh, we got another hover. Nice.
I've never seen WQ hover. Normally, these guys aren't worried about hearts in the Ganon fight, because the Ganon fight is normally pretty straightforward for them. You got to do 12 slashes worth of damage in phase 1, 12 slashes worth of damage in phase 2, hit him 4 times in phase 3 after he warps, and then 12 spins and you're out. Well, the Master Sword is pathetic, and only does... shout-outs to Josh and the Josh Fairies on ACM stream. The Master Sword is pathetic in the amount of damage that it will do, and you will see 52 spins, which means that they're going to need just about every last drop of magic that they have to keep that torch lit, and if they don't get the torch glitch for whatever reason, that's going to slow the fight down dramatically. I don't know, can you complete the fight with lamp only without torch glitch?
I think it's very, very tight.
How many lights do you do with the lamp?
32.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You can get doubles every time you light the lamp, or every time you light the 2 torches. So 2 lights for 2 hits, or
got a total of 52 spins.
Yep,
that's a lot of spins. I mean, you got to rely on some good RNG here. So like Zelma's got a middle middle right pattern here where he can get a double spin in.
Yeah.
Now these fire bats in phase 2 will do 4 hearts of damage. Hugging the pig will do 8 when you have green mail.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is... Ooh. There's 4 hearts of damage from Zelna. He's got 4.5 left.
If he had to.
He's out of phase 2 though, so he might be okay. And
that was close.
Okay.
Those only do 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah, the fire bats in phases 3 and 4 only do 2 hearts. But hugging the pig will always do 8. With the green mail.
Alright, it looks like WQ got the good spawn here, so this particular spot is the best spot you can be in when you're going for phase 2. Because you can get about 6 spins if you want to take damage from one of the bats. So you can that can gain a lot of time in this fight. Just getting that RNG.
If I'm correct, you can't slash Ganon in phase 3, correct? You have to spin him.
And that's what
Master
makes it
Sword. Yeah, Master Sword slash will do no damage. Fighter Sword, you can't damage him with anything with the Fighter Sword.
Yep.
Yeah, so Zelna's starting with the Fire Rod. He'll probably keep the Fire Rod out unless he misses a few spins and then switch to the lamp right at the end. Or just keep the Fire Rod the whole time if the fight goes well up to that point.
If you don't miss any spins, or if you get an early hit before you do the torch glitch, you don't have to switch to the lamp as long as you're not missing any spins, because you got just enough magic.
1, I think.
Yeah, you can probably miss 1.
Takes 24 spins, I believe, in this phase. He's going to have 8 fire rod shots to play with.
That's 3.
That's 3 key doing the same.
Cutting it really close, that's for sure. And looks like Zelna's going to have to switch to the lamp now.
Oh, let's see, we got ACM and Chris up. I didn't even see the stream change. They must be the next 2 players in the race.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, but these guys are having a pretty good low percent run right now.
Oh yeah. Zelna is switching to the lamp just to be safe, I guess, for the last few hits. But he'll finish this up eventually. It's a lot of hits.
Zelna is not to spoil with stream delay, and Zelna is going to finish with a time of 1 26:26.
Not bad.
That is a pretty good time. If he were submitting that time to the leaderboard today, it would be second place. Actually,
No, it'd be third.
Yeah, there's somebody.
WQ hasn't submitted a recent time yet.
Yeah, so that time is better than anybody else.
Did WQ miss a spin? Oh my god, wow.
Oh, okay.
Holy crap, dude. That was incredibly ballsy. Like, that's... I wouldn't have went for that, like, if the race was that close. Oh my god.
So WQ finishes in second place with a time of 1:27:01 SRL.
Really good.
So we're getting Greenham in on this. Greenham has just made his way through Torches 2 in Ganon's Tower.
And RPG's back.
We're bringing back the Godfather, who is also just passing through Torches 2. Greenham's a fairly newer runner to the game. I think he started right around or right after I did, so about 18 months ago. And he's gotten himself a 127 NMG, and he's gotten some pretty good times in most of the other NMG categories, and has played around with some of the glitch categories as well. So he's one of the people that, if you like Link to the Past, to keep an eye on. He's also a big practicer, big on-stream practicer. So if you want somebody to watch and see different ways of doing things and how people practice to get good times, he's a good person to throw a follow.
I think he's also responsible for the Helpasaur King bot.
He is. Programmer Deluxe Greenham has revived. There used to be G-Bot, rest in peace, but Helpasaur King has now taken its place. So ACM and Christos spinning the pig, spin to win. RPG teasing the hover, but instead hooking the chest.
ACM actually doesn't do these kind of challenges as often. You know, he doesn't like to do low percent or things like that. So he doesn't have as much practice as some of the other players. He's one of the players who's kept getting the Sanctuary hard, until he had a 125 in NMG.
We have actually been
proficient.
We have actually been joined by Zelma. Congratulations on your performance in this low percent showcase. Anything stand out to you about that there somewhat of an okay run?
Yeah, it was alright. 15 warps at the end, no 3+1 cycle on Ganon, so pretty much lost like a minute there. But oh yeah, Moldorm 2 didn't feel like being hovered.
Oh no.
But yeah, other than that, it was okay.
Yeah. It was a pretty good run, man. I think Timon had a lot of issues, but you and WQ had a pretty good race. I don't know how many blue balls you got. I think you got like one. I don't know how
I got one, he got two.
Ooh, Chris down to 2 hearts.
Alright, Greenham entering the Ganon fight now. 52 spins. Makes a big.
Following just shortly behind. So now that you've won this exciting low percent race, what's next for Zelma?
Probably the Diddy Kong Racing tournament.
Oh yeah, what's the command for that? Coming up soon.
Yeah, that's gonna be broadcast right here, I think, on this channel.
I think I can do... Oh, there it is. Yeah, the Diddy Kong Racing 100% tournament begins on August 3rd. Go ahead and sign up if you are interested in that. Even if you've never played the game before, I think that's going to be bringing in runners of all skill levels. Diddy Kong Racing is one of the most popular Nintendo 64 speedruns out there. Really fun to watch and has some tremendous voice acting.
Ooh, boy, does it.
Greenham with 5.5 hearts, being a little bit cautious.
Oh yeah. Looks like ACM is going to be our 3rd place finisher in this race.
Greenham with 1.5 hearts, being cautious.
Okay. That was scary.
So that is the Ganon fight. You'll see a lot of runners that will have 120x pace, low percent runs, and then Greenham is got the red screen Yeah, the Ganon fight can turn your 128 low percent run into a 135 very fast.
Yeah.
Or very slowly, I guess.
Wow, did you see what RPG just
RPG just hookshotted to save his life.
Wow. Yeah, that would have killed him.
Yeah.
But I was in
Hookshot's
phase
your
3.
best friend in this fight, for sure.
Yep, while the hookshot is extending and retracting, you cannot take damage. One thing that you can get screwed by, so in phase 3, if you don't get the phase 3 attack off quick enough and Ganon releases the Ring of Fire Bats, you can get trapped in a position where the Fire Bat will hit you during the animation and you can't do anything but take damage. So it's kind of a nice way to lose a run. Timon is making his way through land mode 2.
Yeah, I saw Timon had a conversation with Cold there a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, now in the bottom left with TGH.
TJ's not doing too bad. He's not that far behind.
It's like 4th place was Christos Owen.
132.14.
This timer on stream says 126. That would be an impressive time. I bet you just
That would be an
timer
impressive time. That's going to be my new strat, stopping my timer 6 minutes before I finish. Alright, so RPG's probably got to keep an eye on magic. He's going to keep the... Okay, he's got a... We got green ham 83 in the top left and blue ham 83 in the top right.
What?
He
Pig, and he turned blue.
I see what you did there. Man.
You invited me.
Yeah. Timon is...
So I believe it's
Oh, man.
3... Oh, Moldorm knocks him down, and he's going to land on the spikes for another heart to damage because video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be very good at all of low percent and still... Ganon and Cold Stare and just... Those are... not easy fights.
It's like RPG has finished him off. Didn't even have to hit him with any arrows. Silver or otherwise.
Alright, Timon making his way into Aghanim 2. Oh, I saw the flash of red from Aga 2. I'm like, how did he die? Oh.
Poor Timon.
If there's one thing I knew, it's that Timon wouldn't forfeit.
Oh no.
And a nice Aga 2 from Timon. We're going to be getting Mishrak 109 in the top right, just about to drop in on Ganon.
TJ, so we're entering the 4th phase. He's going to start with the Fire Rod, but I think he looked like he was down a little bit of magic going into the fight, so yeah, he's not going to be able to use it the whole time. He'll switch to the lamp early.
Yeah. Blue Ganon for TG8. So Green Ham is in phase 4. Just keep an eye on your magic.
All these guys are on Ganon.
Yeah, Mish going in with a high heart count. That'll give him some comfort.
Yeah,
a little bit
RPG.
lower.
As if he would do it any other way, RPG finished with a 130-420.
No way. Freaking RPG.
I Smoke Meth Daily 69 finished in 6th place with a 134-32.
I didn't even see he was ahead. Dang. It's really hard to load this SRL page sometimes. Everything loads at the same time.
All right. I've not been counting. I'm not going to count to 52, so I've just got to assume that Greenham is getting close to the end of the fight. 3 hearts, so he can take 1 fire bat, but he'd prefer to take none.
Yeah, I'd rather take 0 if I had the choice.
It is optimal to take 0.
I think TGH entered the 4th phase a little bit faster than Greenham, but using the lamp for most of it, he wasn't getting a lot of triples. And I wasn't counting the hits for either of them, but it's possible Greenham could pull a little bit ahead, but it's hard to say.
So one of the things that you'll see runners doing here is they will let Ganon get a warp without going to attack him, and they'll kind of kite the fire bat away from the torch so that they can then get to the torch and get a spin on him. It's a little bit easier to get a spin in on Ganon with the lamp when he's at the bottom. And Greenham finishes the fight up. Unlike the fire rod, which you can fire while charging the sword, the lamp you cannot use while charging the sword.
Yeah.
So TGH has finished with a time of 1:37.14. Greenham finished in 8th place, 1:37.22.
Yeah, just a few seconds apart.
Christo saying this is his first ALttP speedrun since the relay last year when he did all dungeons.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
That was a pretty good run, too.
Yep.
130, I think it was, or 131, maybe.
Now we've got my brother in puns, Elminster, on the top left.
Timon, with just enough magic and only 1 heart at the end of the fight, was able to pull through in the end.
Elminster with a not commonly seen strat playing on the US version.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's probably been running on that version since like 2010.
Is it going to be 1.1 or 1.2? Does he get torch glitch?
Oh, US version does have the torch glitch. He will have it.
Unless it's 1.2, I think.
There's no 1.2 US.
Oh, there isn't? Or it's J, isn't it?
Yeah, J has a 1.2 and PAL. Those are the 2 versions where the torch glitch does not work.
Gotcha.
And saving with a close call there. The hook shot really does save your butt sometimes.
Yeah, Thunder Mustache in the bottom right, the Sabin in the bottom left.
Ooh.
Sabin's going to try to suplex Ganon and instead takes a fireball to the back. 360, no scope.
Ganon has no honor.
There's
he's going to heal up before trying again. I don't blame him for that. It just takes a little fairy.
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen is to run out of magic. Because you have to pretty much go either to Light World Kakariko, I think, has a tree you can bonk for a full magic.
Yeah. If you have some... Ooh, nice position there for Elminster. That Ganon stopping position is really uncommon. It's actually a glitch warp. If you have a little bit of magic, you can use the Ice Rod and Hammer trick to try to get some, instead of having to go very far out of your way.
Yeah. And Elminster with the red screen of fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
While has finished up.
This is a tough fight, man. Avoiding those bats is the hardest part of this fight.
Mishrak with a 139.56. Not bad.
Not bad. Congrats. And he had a soft lock, too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
See the one, he like died in Eastern and soft locked fake flippers and fell at Moldorm and kept going for some reason.
For the love of the game, man. For the love of the game. Meanwhile, we've got Blue Viper 85 in the top right, who is making his way to Turtle Rock. Blue Viper actually had been taking some time off of the game and decided to come back for the low percent race. Back when I started, and he had a 138, and I had a 3-hour time. Blue Viper is one of the people that I watched and tried to cut. So good to see him being able to join this race.
Yeah, let's see if he regrets the decision to come back for this race.
Probably already does.
RPG's in here, but he's
muted.
So if he wants to talk about his run.
Yeah. So I mean, I was on actually a really good pace until Helmethor. So
I thought I saw you finding a ferry sometime in that run. That didn't strike me as
it just
very.
no, it just so happened to appear from a mummy drop.
Yeah, but you kind of walked towards it. You kind of walked towards it.
Well, how disgraceful things were going in Skullwoods. I mean, why not just go ahead and ferry it up?
Yeah. You had some adventures with Trinex when he laid down that hockey ring. You did a pretty good job of conserving the magic and getting that fight in.
Yeah, I took it slow once I realized that the ice sheet was out, and he was like on the other side of the ice sheet, and I was missing fire rod shots. So.
Now, how much did your experience with NHL '94 help you in that fight?
I mean, it was a substantial, improvement there. Because I mean, I'm a hockey god as well. While sleeping and having the game play itself, so it's pretty cool. But
you did pretty well, man. I mean, outside of dying to Helmasaur, which was really just BS. I mean,
he gave me the worst pattern.
You got 5 fireballs in a row. I was watching,
and he was up against the wall at the end, and I didn't want to go towards him, and the tail was coming at me.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's really hard to just handle Helmasaur in that situation.
So what happened to Fuzda? Yeah, Fuzda.
Well, since we have Fuzda on stream right now, I'd be remiss if I didn't drop this highlight into the chat.
Oh god. The Fuzda bridge, oh my god, yeah. Definitely check out that.
Elminster did not get Torch Glitch.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's not great.
Consistently, but if he's not getting doubles every time he lights the torches, he's not.
He's not. Yeah, he should just. I don't know if he knows the math.
Yeah. Well,
Thunder Mustache finished.
Go ahead and roll out of here.
Yeah, thanks for rolling it out, man.
Got some plans to make a Rollin' Deep album, so
thanks for the promotion.
Check out my mixtape.
Fresh
mixtape's gonna be hot, just so you know.
It's fire. It's lit, as the kids would say.
Lit is only one of those torches in Elm's screen right now.
Yeah. All right, we got Sabin. Thunder Mustache finished up in 11th with a 143.17, and Sabin in 12th with a 143.41. And I think we're going to bring up Super Nintendo Chalmers as one of our next streams. I think we've got SMBAI.
I just got to say that guy's name is truly epic.
I'm learning!
Just, I don't know, that is the godliest Twitch name ever.
Yeah,
oh, he's not streaming. Well, rip.
Oh, he's not? Okay. Elm's gonna be disappointed in about 6 torches from now.
Ooh, and he got a
yeah.
Now, Fuzda's had plenty of experience with low percent Link to the Past. He's actually done quite a bit of a one-hit KO.
As that clip would reveal.
Yeah, he's definitely experienced, so I mean, he probably won't have much trouble with Ganon, I would say, as long as he can survive the first 2 phases.
Alright.
That's holding
SMB making his way through the roller room with the hook shot. And Fuzda with the red screen of bad decisions.
Oh, yep. Elm had to roll out of there because he has no magic.
And so he's got a few options here. He can get the fairy, but he's going to have to go and find magic.
He might be able to get
you might die getting the fairy.
Fairy's just not having it right now.
Get him. Oh!
What a way to go.
And he's in the wall.
That's actually good, because now he can warp back faster and try for another fairy. I'm sure that was intentional.
So he's gonna have to warp, and he's probably gonna... He's back in the wall. Okay. Now he's going to have to warp, and I believe he'll, if he knows what to do, he's going to flute to 3 and bonk a tree for a full magic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, Blue Viper is visiting a very rarely seen fairy room. You can get to this from the laser bridge in Turtle Rock. It's not a bad place to know about.
We're not going to discuss how he knows about this fairy room.
He's just a smart player, that's all.
Yes.
Alright, I'm in Stir trying again. And oh wow, so much lore that I didn't know about this game. I'm learning now.
Blue Viper. Okay, he got the laser skip.
Looks like Canis has finished.
Yep, and we've got now Shadows 4511 in the bottom right.
I have some hot insider information that Shadows may have had a few drinks before this race. Wonder if that affected his gameplay at all. He is on the 4th phase though, so we'll be finishing this up. Maybe switch to the lamp at some point so it doesn't have to worry about his
No, I'm
vision.
gonna keep that fire rod out.
For now, at least.
He's not doing too bad. He's pretty experienced, so I mean, I think
Yeah.
he's pretty good with Ganon, I would say.
He's just also
Let's
on phase 4 now. He's starting with a lamp. Maybe we'll switch to the fire rod later.
Yeah, nice run for Shadows. Wow.
148.35. We've got Super Nintendo Chalmers in 14th place with a 147.48. Shadows 4511 in 15th place with that 148.35. Blue Viper is going to use 128 magic points on Trinix.
Gotta be careful.
And
Not quite enough. Take a death warp to get back to the entrance. He did take the laser entrance, which is sort of like a checkpoint in this dungeon. So if he does die, he can not have to redo the entire dungeon.
now he could have mirrored to that point, couldn't he have?
He
To
could
be able
have.
to take, yeah.
If he was already low on hearts, he maybe. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if he's gonna get the fairies anyway. But yeah, either way would have been fine.
What is this? What's Blue Viper doing here?
Picking up some fairies. So does
What? Oh, I didn't know.
El
about
missed torch glitch again?
I wonder if the
That's-
VC version could be different, or if he's just missing it.
You have a lot of time to get that glitch. And by a lot of time, I mean about a
Yeah.
second.
If you know how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying maybe it's not working because he's not on the right version. I don't know.
Fuzda is finished in 16th place with a time of 149.51.
Oh, he just jumped. Yeah, maybe he did just miss it. He doesn't even want to try it without.
Okay. I just didn't. Alright.
Let's see if he does the ice rod trick here. Try to get some-
SMB going with the unique ice head first strats. So you do have to wait longer for the ice head to come out, but killing the ice head early does prevent the hockey ring. But he's got to make sure that he's not going to be able to kill the firehead.
The thing is, you want to definitely kill the firehead first because the ice rod has a very finicky hitbox.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't think he's got enough magic for this. Okay,
He does. Maybe.
I can't believe that worked. But
Still
this
not
is
as
going to
large.
be pretty clinchy right here. And what is he doing? He's standing inside Trinex.
Okay, he'll be okay. Maybe.
Oh my god.
Let's Do the dance, man. Do the dance.
I don't know. He's pretty brave to be standing there right now.
Okay.
That was
So
sketchy.
Now we've got Tear just finishing up Trinex in the bottom right. Blue Viper is finishing up Trinex in the top right.
Mister's trying to begin a fight again. Hopefully he has more luck this time.
Oh, man. That was so sketchy. These guys are at least holding it out, or holding it down for being so far behind. But I mean, they're pretty much in late game at least. Trying to see if I can figure out who else is playing.
Oh dang, Mister made it to phase 3 with half a heart. He might be able to do it.
Still in the race is Magius, SM by Blue Viper, Tear, Kruya, Fantasy Führer. All right.
Yeah.
And Elminster.
Okay, yeah. Magius is right now. He's pretty far behind still. He's actually still in Ice Palace.
Yeah, he's I don't know if he's ever even done like a full low percent run before.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think he's even done a full NMG run.
Yeah,
I mean, other than that, everyone's either in Turtle Rock or
oh, here we go.
or in
Viper
Gannon's,
is mirroring. He's gonna go back for the Fairy Bonk Rock.
Oh, okay. Hey, why not?
As long as he doesn't die getting there, because that would be very bad.
Overworld deaths are particularly bad, yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
You can't even use your boomerang to try to catch the fairy because you don't have one.
And he immediately takes 4 hearts of damage. He's
Gotta get the next one.
struggling.
Yeah, but Elminster's been down to half a heart for a while now, but he did get the torch glitch, so as long as he's careful, he should be able to finish up the fight this time.
It's just so scary watching him do this.
He knows the timing, too. You can tell he does like triples.
He's pretty familiar with this game.
I mean, I think he legitimately ran this game back in like 2010. I don't know how much experience he has like in between, but I know that he is a very old school runner.
So one thing about this fight is the Firebat hitbox seems to skew to the up and left. So it's pretty dangerous to go when Ganon is shooting fire rods to the southwest of the room. It's pretty dangerous to go left and above them, because you can take a hit from a Firebat that doesn't seem to be anywhere near you.
And Tear is having an Ormuz party.
Yeah, so Tear is gonna get a
There's run from
Ganon bat pattern, and Elminster brings it home, finishing in 17th place with a time of 1:55.04. The sub-2 dream is real.
The first place finisher on the US version, though.
Yes, first place in the US category. And now we're going to bring up Kroya in the top left.
Kroya's a pretty active randomizer runner who hasn't done too much, I think, vanilla runs before.
He is. I think he's been pretty active in the glitch hunting scene, though. Every time I peek into the glitches room, I think I usually see him chatting in there. So either he's just sharing things he's found, or otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of randomizer players have gotten really interested in the glitch stuff, which is really nice.
So
It's nice to see them playing some vanilla speedruns too.
SM by is not. See, this is where knowledge of the route is, because he does not want to be
Yes, 23 arrows.
Yeah, and he just emptied the clip on the ice armos with. I mean, it makes sense. They are ice armos, and the fire rod would seemingly be an effective weapon, but it's only the floor that's made of ice, not the armos.
Let me tell you guys something about using the Master Sword on armos.
Yeah, I know.
So when you slash armos with the Master Sword, it actually does half the damage the fighter sword.
Yeah.
For
It's
some
not a good weapon
odd
in
reason.
this fight.
Well,
So
they
you want to use spins.
So there's actually a lot of instances in the game where
Here we go.
they kind of just guessed at damage values for bosses and enemies, where
23.
if you have no chance of having that item when you encounter the boss without doing something like goofy, they might fudge the damage value. So that's why, for instance, class 5 weapons like the gold sword do 0 damage to Moth. Well, that causes the spikes to do 0 damage to Moth. You should never have the Master Sword when fighting Armos, so they just kind of threw a damage value in there, it seems.
Yeah, I like to try to speculate about why some of the design decisions were made, or you know, you can find like fragments of code in the game that are unused or incomplete. It's nice to try to figure out what they were planning that they didn't do.
So here's some trivia for you, Scudge. Maybe you
For me?
might be the only person that can answer this.
Oh no.
There is one enemy
Oh, the high notes.
where... you didn't even let me get the question out. Wow. One enemy where a gold spin does more damage than a gold slash. It is the Hinox.
Yeah, I know that one.
It's which enemy is it? The Hinox?
The Hinox, the bomb chuckers.
Don't know why though.
Yep, they're the only one that a gold spin does more damage than a gold slash. Everybody else, I don't know what the damage class is on a gold spin. I mean, logic would tell me it's class 5 damage.
Yeah.
Well, class 6 is
It's 5.
okay. Fighter sword is class 1.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a fighter sword poke is also class 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no class 0.
so weird. Like, I don't know. It's just weird that they didn't make it all the same across all the bosses, I guess, but I guess that would just be too easy and simple. I don't know.
Well, they kind of did that to an extent. So the silver arrows seem to do 100 hit points of damage to everything, except for Ganon, where they have special logic programmed in.
Right.
But Vitreous is the only boss that has more than 100 hit points in any given phase. So he's the only boss that it takes 2 silver arrows to kill. He has 128 hit points. The big guy has 128 hit points, so the big guy takes 2 silver arrows. So there are some places where it looks like they just copied and pasted. And then there's other places like the Hinox where either an intern was designing it and thought he was doing the right thing or what, but...
Freaking interns, man.
I know, right?
No wonder they don't get paid.
But that's one of the really nice things about Link to the Past is that, and a lot of other games as well, but Link to the Past is the one that I have the most experience with, is there's a lot of science done around the game. People trying to understand why the game is the way it is, you know, looking as deep as the assembly. We're lucky enough to have a pretty complete total disassembly of this game. So it's, you know, we're always, you know, finding, even if it's little things, we're usually finding new things, like the Ganon bats and the ice armos. We found that last year. You know? So it's a really nice community if you're into glitch hunting, or if you're into ROM hacking and assembly. A lot of resources. We have a hacking wiki where we're starting to actually take that disassembly and put it into human readable format. So if you're into any of those things, Link to the Past is probably a game that you want to check out.
Human readable assembly.
Human readable notations of the assembly.
2017, we're decoding 65C816 assembly code. For free. We're not doing this for... We're not commissioned to do this. This is a hobby.
I think one thing that I would love to see is to sit down and have one of the original developers of the game watch, you know, A, watch an NMG run, and B, watch like a swordless run, and just see their reaction to what we've done to their baby.
We get PCM made so fast. Shout outs to Nintendo.
And I guess I would be remiss if I didn't mention the randomizer, originally the work of Desirect, who's famous for the Super Metroid randomizer, now primarily being worked on by, amongst others, Vitor, Carcat, Christos Owen, and a whole slew of people. And that randomizer has actually brought a lot of new runners to the game. So it's it is. There are new people showing up all the time. It's a pretty good time to be running this game.
Well, it is the greatest game of all time, so I mean, objectively, people might not share that opinion, but we do know objectively it's the best. So
One could certainly make that case in the court of law, in speed court.
It's just interesting how far this game's come along since I've picked it up. I mean, the only thing that was known when I picked it up was just out of bounds stuff, and YBA was barely a thing. Like, it was known, but not much was known about it.
Ah, yes, the YBA Discovery Paste Bin.
Yeah.
Like the Rosetta Stone of ALttP. So I don't. Yeah, we did share Elminster's time for 155.
Yep, here's the most recent finisher. Got a few others who are pretty close now, though. Tears was healing up before getting his next attempt at Ganon.
That's fair enough.
SMBI is having a party with Ted in Gauntlet 4. And he hookshotted him and threw him across the room.
I was stuck over there.
Probably not the strategy he was going for. Dashing into the spikes is... Alright, Gauntlet 4 is done. Gauntlet 5 might be all he gets to, though. Yeah,
Be pretty careful here.
Yeah. Oh, he just blocked a Beamos beam with his hook shot.
Oh, that's slim.
And that's...
You know who likes ice physics? Christos
bad
Owen
people?
likes ice physics. Do you believe that?
British people. That
course
makes
he would.
sense. Of course he does.
He's not even Canadian. And he likes ice. What's up with that?
So Kroya doing a really nice strat there. So normally those cannonballs, you can learn their patterns and learn when you can get a clean dash across. However, if you have the heart to take, or if you know that you're going to get the Josh fairies on the other side of the bridge, you can just walk off the bridge immediately and use your iframes to get a clean dash across. It's a strat that one of the top NMG runners, Joe D'Amelio, was using in runs up until I think within a few months ago. SMB is having some mimics issues. Those mimics rooms are some of the hardest to optimize in the game. Why are you taking the okay, did he just take a death warp? I don't know why he did that. He just walked into the Beamos. I'm uncertain. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Alright, Kroya's through the gauntlet? Yes, okay.
Ooh. And Tears found himself all the way down to one heart.
Alright, Blue Viper had some issues in Ganon. I don't know if he fell, but he's chasing a fairy outside the pyramid. He's gonna mirror probably and come back and get the fairy again. Kroya, meanwhile, finishing up land mode 2.
And he's pretty healthy. 11 hearts still.
Well, he got the Josh fairies.
Well, that's true, but he still had to go through the gauntlet.
True. Alright, another fairy for Blue Viper, and he'll be ready to face Ganon.
Air might be the next one to finish as long as he can survive this final phase.
Yep, 24 spins. Let's go. Blue Viper getting downward facing Ganon. I hear Christos Owen has some things to say about that.
Is that on Helpasaur? That might be a little too vulgar.
It might be. It might. Christos, always good for... Christos is a gold mine of highlights. He's been running the game probably since
25 years.
Yeah, just about. Alright, so SMB is through the gauntlet. Christos says accurate. 25 years he has been speedrunning this game.
But how many of those years are spent running the PAL version?
That's a good question. Okay, so Helma Hellway is going well for Croya.
Ooh, man. It's like a gang, dude. They're just ganging up on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've died there. In RBO. At AGQ.
I suppose if things really got desperate, you could drop an ether.
Not in RBO, but yeah, actually,
Not in RBO.
In NMG used to use, I think it was MCR, used to use ether there and get a fairy like 100% of the time. It's called the MCR fairy. You also use the ice rod on Argus. That's completely unrelated, but I just like talking about MCR. He's my hero.
I've seen one highlight of his dashing through the bridge room.
Right off.
I think I don't know if I've seen the highlight or if I've just had it described to me so vividly.
Yeah. He hit the guard by turning east out of his dash and then dashed into the hole. What a guy. RIP MCR. 2001 to 2013.
Anytime you can make an MCR reference, you are required to do so.
You know, I actually came up with this cool strategy. If you get hit on the way to Ice Palace, I found that if you pick up the bush to get the heart, and jump off the ledge, you actually gain more speed after jumping off the ledge while carrying the bush. So it's a couple frames faster than slashing the bush and then picking up the rock. And I was pretty sure I invented that. And then I watched one of MCR's runs and he did it about 3 years before I supposedly invented that. So that's part of why he's my hero, though.
This game has so much history that every time, almost invariably, every time somebody pops into the Discord and says, "Hey, I found this cool new strat," when they show a video of it, Scudge or somebody else that's been around since the dawn of time will say, "Well, no, A, B, and C Japanese runners used to do that." And
a video from like 2011, and
yeah,
make him feel bad, and then I'll feel bad for making him feel bad. And, you know, it's a vicious cycle, but what can you do?
I did that with the, I thought I'd found a new interesting way to fight Cold Stare, and then you're like, "No, IR Godzilla used to do that."
Sorry about that.
Let me have this.
The Viper took a few tries, but it looks like he's finally gotten to the final phase of Ganon in here. Should be able to finish him off this time. I don't think MCR did the King's Tomb spin speed or spectacle bomb jump. I don't know if I ever saw him do 100%.
Alright, so we've got Fantasy Führer in the bottom right now. What do you... No, that's not gonna work. So... So that door's about to close. Yep, there it goes.
That's just enough magic for him to do this.
He's got to do.
He has to know how to do it.
Yeah, he's got to do bottom right top, fall off after doing top, I think, and then he can do the left one.
This room's surprisingly lenient, but if you make any like noteworthy mistakes, you know.
Bottom right, get up there, do top,
yeah,
fall off. Okay,
let's go. Go. Yeah, he's fine. With 2.5 hearts though. Let's hope he makes it through the rest of the dungeon safely.
Yeah, you did not want to go up there. Alright, so Blue Viper is in phase 4. He has Torch Glitch, I believe.
Yeah, in fact, I think he's getting pretty close to the end of this fight.
I have seen more pyramid spin speed today.
It's a nice strategy.
Alright, Blue Viper, bring it home. 1 heart. That thief right there going up and above the fire bat, he was about 1 pixel away from death.
And there it is.
And there he goes, cleans it up.
Nice job. I think that's a PB for Blue Viper too.
He said 1 hour and 41 minutes saved over his PB.
Nice.
Whew,
Gotta love crazy. That second run. Kroya finishing up.
Right behind.
Kroya is so Blue Viper 19th place with a 2:13.33. Kroya right behind with a 2:13.55. That might be it, other than SMB and Fuhrer, because we had 2 forfeits.
Magius is
Magius is in the fairy fountain. Another uncommonly seen room.
Well, I think he was just getting fairies for Ice Palace. It looks like he took a death in there. Yeah. He is the last... He's in last place right now, but I wonder if he's going to finish. That'd be definitely...
He has enough magic to go back in. I don't know what he's waiting on.
I don't think he has very much experience doing runs.
No.
So he might not know.
Looks like Kroya also PB'd low percent by 20 minutes. So for those that have still hung around, and anybody that is interested in the Link to the Past speedrun or the game in general, there is a link in the chat for the Link to the Past speedrunning Discord. Is open to all. If you have any questions, if you want to try the run, if you are interested in glitch hunting or ALttP ROM hacking, that is the place for you. So feel free to join us and you'll get announcements for any races, any Link to the Past streams. So all the Link to the Past you could ever hope for, and then some.
Yeah, it looks like probably give this about another 10 minutes or so before we wrap this up. I just want to thank Feasel for letting me do this race here on SpeedGaming, because I thought it was a pretty dope idea. I've wanted to do this for a while, but really just didn't have much time to really dedicate to making a pace spin and just like making a layout for all this stuff. So I'm just really glad that it had a nice turnout. I thought, no joke, that like 5 people were going to join this race at most. So like I asked a few people if they'd be interested in a race, and they said yeah. So when I posted it, I had a pretty overwhelming response, to be honest. So it's just pretty cool that everyone joined. No matter what your skill level is, I just think it's pretty cool that people have tried this run out, and it's really difficult. So and thanks to Scudge and Scriba for hopping in on commentary. Of course, I can't do this by myself.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep,
I really enjoyed
thanks for
this.
having me.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. I'm glad everyone was challenging themselves. It's just you see a lot of randomizer, and sometimes you just want to see these guys challenge themselves. I mean, this is like one of the hardest categories you can do. So I mean, just completing a run, is good enough. But doing it deathless, that's the real challenge.
And you can always try to be that third person to complete the low percent damage list.
Yeah, I mean,
You can
there's
try.
that.
I suppose if we had 3, that would be enough for a leaderboard.
Hey.
Probably not. But people would talk about you in commentary of low percent races.
That's true.
Okay, so Vegas is discovering an interesting thing about the ice physics. When you're on ice, you have to be perfectly lined up with the door to go through, unless you dash. You for whatever reason, you can't just walk and nudge doors. You're just going to skate past them like that. So he finally was able to get his momentum stopped. Yeah, other than the Discord, we have the ALttP wiki, where we're constantly adding new information about not only NMG and low percent, but about all the glitch categories. Those of you that watched GDQ recently saw our newest category, Swordless, a pretty good show of that put on by Andy. So if you like that or any of the other glitch categories, there's plenty of ways to run this game.
Glitch categories are pretty tough. Oh, nice run from Simbay.
Yeah, there's even pretty much everybody that has a speedrun.com account has tried the 3-minute any percent run, but
yeah, I don't encourage you to do runs of that. I'm sorry.
yeah, please don't.
I mean, if you do, at least go for the sub 2 or something. Make it worth submitting.
Yeah. And also, follow the category rules and submit it correctly. Things like that.
Yeah. It's not that hard, guys. I mean,
yeah. If you
I always read the rules before I submit a run to any leader.
If you appear to beat the record by 23 minutes, you're probably submitting to the wrong category.
Yeah.
My strategy was to use warps.
Yeah.
A lot of any percent runs get submitted to the no EG category, and I'm like, okay. When you see that gold sword and the name that you don't know, you're like, okay, yeah.
But yeah, all dungeons is a category that's gotten a lot of life breathed into it recently. It's probably one of the more accessible glitched categories. Of course, Swordless that we saw at GDQ, RBO that we've seen at GDQ. RBO only possible because of the work of Super Scudge.
Well,
You kind of, you did that thing that actually made the route possible. So
yeah, after embarrassing myself by trying without a route once. Oh, man. That's the only reason I did it, was because I was embarrassed. Do you know that history of RBO?
No.
Yeah, well, so people had like sort of tried to do RBO in the past, but the conclusion was that it was impossible. I didn't know why they'd come to that conclusion. So I was like, doing glitches and stuff and doing puzzle races, and I was all cocky. I was like, I'm just going to do an improvised RBO run because I can't seem to think of why it's impossible, just on a whim. And yeah, I got stuck in the exact same place where everybody else did before me, and I was really embarrassed. So I like made it I put like a strong effort into finding a way to make it possible, just so that I could like redeem myself after that. That's the history of RBO.
And we ended up with a pretty cool looking run.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
That's crazy, man. Like, I don't know. You guys just know so much crap about this game, and I'm just over here just pressing buttons. Like, it's just really cool that all the like developments that have happened in this game in the last 2 years.
Another surprisingly accessible category with also some really hard fights. Defeat Ganon is a category that probably doesn't get as much love as it should.
It's impossible.
It's a very hard Ganon fight. It's a 4-heart Ganon fight with do you get tempered?
No boots.
Yeah,
No fire rod.
It's not easy, but getting to Ganon isn't terribly difficult.
I guess that's true.
And it's 15 minutes. So.
10%.
And then any percent no EG is also a nice challenging category.
A nice run from Fantasy too.
And
finished.
You forgot to dot down, I think. In the channel.
I would also be remiss if I didn't mention that coming up on October 21st, we have the ALttP Community Relay, where you're going to see teams of runners compete in a relay race of a bunch of categories of Link to the Past. You're going to see Master Sword, no major glitches, low percent, Mirror Shield, all dungeons, I think swordless, and I believe they're also going to try to have enough runners to do the 2x category, where you play in an emulator at 120 frames per second, and it's impossible. But a number of runners have actually gotten decent enough times at that we're going to include it in the relay. And I want to, on top of thanking Blunt Bunny for putting together this low percent race, I want to thank Parisian Player for putting together the ALttP relay this year. We had one last year, and it was pretty successful. Parisian is, of course, famous, Kotaku article famous, for his 9-hour ALttP blindfolded, glitched all bosses run. If you have not seen that, find it, because it's outstanding. The way that he straight blindfolded and just pretty much audio cued his way through the game, with one of the most epic Ganon fights that you'll ever see.
That was quite a sight to see. I didn't think like it was even possible to beat the game blindfolded. It just didn't seem possible. There's just too much stuff going on in this game, but he found a way to make it work. And he's like in a Discord with a bunch of people who do blindfolded runs, so definitely check them out if you're into that sort of stuff. Yeah, it looks like our boy here is probably going to be playing this for a while, so I think this is probably where we can close it out. If you guys want to finish or watch him finish, I would suggest heading over to his stream now. It doesn't look like he's going to quit, so I don't know, it looks like he's using a very interesting strat here too. But yeah, again, thanks commentary, thanks Feasel for letting me roll this out on SpeedGaming, and stay tuned for I think it's Mystic Quest. Is at 9 o'clock So yeah. Peace.
Later, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. How is everyone doing? Welcome back to yet another. Let me just enable streamer mode so I don't annoy everyone. Welcome back to another Final Fantasy Mystic Quest race. The Dream Team is back. My name is Bo the Hero.
And I'm the RPG chick.
So we're going to be taking you through a very exciting match between Borum and Silverfire.
Yes, I'm pretty sure this is the last of the bracket matches for the first round of the brackets.
The first round of the brackets?
Yeah, the first round of the brackets, yes. And
Okay.
then the quarterfinals, I believe, start next week. So it should be really interesting.
Excellent, excellent. So, at this point, we've got waiting. Borum and Silverfire will be playing the winner of. The winner of these two will be playing some DDR noob, who I believe is the #1 seed for this event. The other three quarterfinals of Marsh Valius versus Opus. Opus beating Scratch Dragon out yesterday, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Cyclone, who we saw play, I think the day before against Penguin Ninja. Will be playing Penguin Ninja. And then Feral, who you played earlier today, was it?
Yep, he beat me by 40 seconds. I was so sad.
Dang. It's a close one, RPGC. It's a close one indeed.
I need to get into the SRL race channel, don't I? I'm so terrible. So I don't miss them starting.
Well, I have it too if it doesn't sell.